If you're a church with limited budget and limited resources looking to build a website, then you couldn't have found yourself in a better place. For less than $160 and just one afternoon's work, I'm going to show you how you can create an incredibly eye-catching website to make your church stand out like it never has before. G'day, hello, hi, how are you? This is Ed from Website Built by You. Today we're going to go over how to build an incredibly attractive church website. Here's the website for you. This is going to require absolutely no coding whatsoever. It's all drag and drop. It's really beautiful. It's clean, it's crisp. It's going to give you your visitors all the information that they need to know and hopefully get your numbers going up through the doors. By the end of this video, you'll have all the functionality, all the tools to create this website exactly for your church and how you can create it so that it really fits in with who you are and who is in your local area. So without further ado, I'm going to give you the grand tour of this clean, crisp, simple, really attractive, but really easy to make website. So here we are. This is the grand tour of the website. Now, I've currently based this on just an idea of a church in New York, just by using the use of imagery, which I'm going to be showing you through. And all of this is really accessible using Unsplash, but I will definitely show you of different ways that if you don't have a photographer in your church, how you can go about getting some amazing photos for your website. But here we go. So welcome to Life Church. As you can see, just as an introduction, we've got this massive image just to show off a little bit about where we are in the world, whereabouts you're based. As you can see down here, we've got an animated text box, really simple to do. I'm going to show you how to do it. You'll laugh at just how easy it is. But it's just a really good way to show people your different service times if that's something that is a part of where you are. So then we've also got your invitation of whatever you want to put out, and again some more imagery that will feature throughout your website and be able to give people the best idea of what actually goes on inside your doors. We've got different things, information about the church, information about life groups and support groups, and then fun for all ages, depending on what you've got. We've got here, just for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to show you how to create a kids page, a youth page, a young adults page. Go on, and whoever is in your church, you know, your golden oldies, your 35s plus, your newborns, absolutely everything that you could ever want. So as we go on, we've got testimonies, stories of people who may have come to your church. Stories are a great way to give people yet another idea of what life is like inside your church. So I'll be showing you how to create this. And then finally, just a map of where your location is and everything that goes with that. So we've got all that there on our homepage. Then we've got, as I said, our fun for all ages. So we've got all that there. And as I said, we've got different pages here where you can talk a lot about what your church is like, give people information on what to expect, what your values are, what's your upcoming plan, where did you start from, where are you now, where are you going, and just a really crisp, simple layout. You'll laugh, as I said, you'll laugh at just how easy this is to do. I honestly, get an afternoon aside and you'll be done. It's that simple. We've got different things, another events calendar, which you'll be able to create different events for, showing people exactly what's going on in the life of your church. Different things, you've got your staff members, anybody who works inside your church, you're able to give a real good overview of who's there and what's going on. I've just given you a couple of demonstrations there for the purpose of this. And then a real good call to action page of your invitation, something that you can point people towards to join you this Saturday. If you're the kind of church where you have a giveaway of a free coffee, you know, this is where people can give you your email address and you'll be able to send them a free coffee voucher if that's something that your church has, or a free resource. How different ways of how you can get to your church really simply and easily. And again, once again, just the addresses and all the information that anybody looking for a new church in your area could possibly want. So without further ado, I'm going to show you exactly how to get started, exactly how you can create something this spectacular in just one afternoon. So let's do this. So the first thing we're going to do is buy our hosting. Now there's lots of different hosting platforms out there, but I really recommend that you go with InMotion hosting, and I'm going to tell you why now. The first thing is their speed. They are an awful lot quicker than anything else out there. This means that whenever you're editing your website, you're going to be able to do it a lot faster than if you use another hosting program. For the price that you're paying for InMotion, you're going to be able to get some great speeds. Their second plan, their power plan, has twice the speed of any of their original server, which is still faster than other servers out there. Also, with InMotion, you'll be able to get yourself a free domain name if you haven't got one already. If you have, great, but if you're starting out again, get yourself a free domain name with them. So with InMotion as well, there's a 99.9% upkeep. This is incredible for the price that you're paying. No other server of this price has this kind of level of support. This upkeep means that whenever your website's up there, any server crash or anything that might just bring your website offline for a point of time is going to be extremely rare with InMotion. With other hosting platforms, it becomes an issue. With InMotion, I've certainly found absolutely no problems with mine whatsoever. And finally, with us here at Website Built By You, you'll be able to save 25% off the power plan. So this is the second price plan, which I'm going to show you in a second, but you'll be able to save 25% off with them. So what I want you to do is click this button here. You can click any of the links here to go and purchase InMotion hosting. So we'll click this. And here we are. So what we want to do is we want to go into WordPress hosting. And as you can see here, we've got 3 different packages. Now, there's 3 different packages here that will relate to different businesses. With here, we've got this launch package, which they say is great for small blogs. Everything with unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, and unlimited email is all across the board for all 3 packages. Where it differs is where you have 2 websites, 6 websites or unlimited websites, and the performance goes up as well, from 2 times faster to 4 times faster, and the Pro comes with a Pro level of support as well. I find InMotion as well has some of the best support you can have, especially even with these 2 packages. There's online chat 24/7. They're US based. They'll be able to help you out at any point with whatever you've got. So I highly recommend that you go with either launch or power. The only difference is having slightly more websites to assign to the hosting platform, but also the 2 times performance. So I'm currently with Power. I find it works really well for me. It helps me get my work done a lot quicker. But if launch is where your budget is, and for starting off, that's more than okay. So for this order, we're going to go through the launch. And we're just going to go for 1 year. As you can see that it's an extra $1 just to go for 1 year. 2 years is going to be $5.99 a month. This is still an absolutely tremendous price. So we want to go here, click this link. And here we are ready to go. So I'm just going to empty my cart here from before. We just want to go back in there. Okay, so here we go. The first thing that it's going to happen is it's going to ask, would you like to purchase a domain name? Now remember, with this offer, you get a free domain name. So if you don't have a domain name already, a domain name is just what you want your website to be called. So I'm going to call this website website for fun times. Let's see what website for fun times comes up with. It's available, so we can add it to our cart and have our fun times. And as you'll see here, even though we've got a free domain name, it has added domain privacy as well to our basket. Now, domain privacy is just basically it's keeping your details protected. I've sort of found that there's not really much difference. You're really just paying $10 just to avoid a couple of cold calls from different website companies. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that and continue on with my basket. And as you'll see here, it's going to ask for protection again, and I'm going to say no thank you. So with Inmotion hosting, they're going to ask you if you want to upgrade to the power plan. And this is the earlier package that we saw, which has the 2 times the performance and the 6 separate websites. Again, I'm going to say no thank you to that. I'm quite happy with what we've picked. So here we go. The 2 things here. You've got your data server. There's really not much of a difference between which one you pick. For me, I just go for whichever I'm closest to in the world. So at the moment, I'm in a nice little house in Ireland. So Washington, D.C. is going to be closer for me. So I'm going to select that. But the really important thing is here, we want to make sure that we install WordPress. It's completely free, and it's just an add-on to what we want to have when it comes to our website. So make sure you click that button and continue. And this is where we're going to enter our email address. If you're, as a new customer, you're going to want to enter this here. You're not going to be asked for a password yet. That's going to come in an email later on. But what I want you to do is just go ahead, type in your email address, and follow the on-screen instructions, and I'll meet you just on the other side. Okay, so now we're just going to put in our details. So this is very simple. I just need you to follow the on-screen instructions, your first name, your last name. If you have a company name for your website and for your business, a registered company name, go ahead to put that in. If not, just leave it blank. Your country, this is all information that you should know. Make sure you get your confirmation email correct. And then just in the referred by, what I want you to do is just put website built by you.com. This is just to help them understand where you're coming from. And then you've just got your billing information down here, your card number, your expiry, and your signature code. Once again, I've already done this. I'm not going to put my card details in for you all to see. So I'm just going to jump on and meet you at the other side once again. So here we go. Now we've come to the next stage of our checkout. We've put our card details in, we've put our email addresses. I've just scrolled down this page a little so that you can't see my details. What we want to do next is just click this agree button. That's the only thing that you'll need to do on this page, and then just check out. Now, once again, I've already purchased my hosting, so I'm not going to click this button, but I'll show you exactly what happens next. Okay, so now it's time to install WordPress. So as you can, if you want to go back to the website, we've got the text instructions of how to install WordPress here. You'll notice here that the first step is from the email you'll receive from Inmotion. Click Get Started and reset your password there. So all that's going to do is set your password up and get you ready to go. I've already done that, so I'm just going to take you straight down to step 3 once you've got your password set up. And what you want to be here is in the AMP, which is the Account Management panel. So what I want you to do is scroll down here, go to Install Popular Software. And then what we want to do is install WordPress. So we've got our password and we want to just go in there. Okay, so now what we want to do is get started. So here it'll ask whether you want to have a www dot before your website. I prefer not to nowadays, so I'm just going to keep that there. And what you need to do is just select the domain that you wish to use. So we've got, so this is the domain I'm going to use to set up. We don't need to have anything in the directory, we just leave this blank. And then we've got our site name and our site description. Now this will automatically say my blog or my WordPress blog. So what I want you to do is just give it a site title. So for me, web site built by you. And then just a site description, creating amazing websites. So you don't need to put too much thought into this because you will be able to change this in the settings when it comes to building our website. So if you're not quite sure of what you want your site description to say, then we can change that at any point. All this is going to be is just what's going to come up here. So for example, the site name for this page is Inmotion Hosting, and the site description will be this part here. So now what you need to do is create a username and a password. So go ahead and create a username and a password. This is what you're going to use to log in to your WordPress. So I'm just going to hide my password here. So we're going to have Ed and And then we're just going to have our admin email address. So we can just keep that at admin, or you can scroll that back to ed, whatever your name is, for example. Select your language. And then if you would like WordPress to lock out after a certain amount of time, for example, you've forgotten your password and you want it to lock out after 5 times, go ahead and check this button. Or if you'd prefer not to, that's okay. And then what you want to do is just type in your email address for the instructions to be sent to you of how you're going to install WordPress, or how you're going to log into WordPress. We've got a couple of advanced options here, and they're all to do with auto-upgrading WordPress and auto-upgrading the plugins. You can check these. I prefer just to leave them unchecked, just because I like to have a little bit more control. Sometimes I don't want to update something until I maybe wanted to actually sit down and read exactly what's going to change, and if I have to do any editing on the spot. So I leave those unchecked. Backup location. This is another great thing about WordPress. About InMotion, that the backup hosting is completely free. So if something does go wrong and you hit the delete button by mistake and you need to get some things back, a quick contact to them and they'll be able to help you out. So what I want you to do is click install. Now, I'm actually just going to change the website for the purpose of this. So website install. And so just after we've hit install, you'll see that the data is starting to install there. And we're all done. So all you have to do is check your emails and all your information will be sent to you there. And then if you want to log in, just click this here. And there we go. You'll either have to log in with your details for the first time there, or it might just come up like this. So there we are, and now we're ready to install WordPress. And now we're ready to install our theme. So now what we're going to do is we're going to purchase Stack. If you come to the page on the website, the link is directly below, just the About Stack. I'm going to tell you all about the information that Stack has to offer, everything about it, lots of different information, different testimonials, real-life testimonials from real people saying just how great Stack is. This entire website is built with it, so you can see it's just so clear, it's so crisp, and it could not be easier to use. So what I want you to do is click the link of saying get Stack now, and then what we want to do is just buy it from here. So if we click the buy now product, you'll see here the regular license says $59. There's a little bit of VAT in charge in that, so it goes up to $70.80. All you have to do is fill out your name, your details, your payment method. Then what I want you to do is click Save and Continue. Once you've paid for it, you go to your download section and then download all files and documents where it comes to Stack. So the reason why I'm not showing you this is because I've already downloaded Stack and I don't want to, there's no need for me to pay for it again. So there we go. So straight to the website, all the information there, and download Stack for you. So there you go. Go to the website there. All the information's there to get this incredible product. So now we've come to the dashboard of WordPress. And the first thing we want to do is install the theme that we've bought. So we want to go into Appearance. We want to go into Themes. And then what we want to do is add a new theme. So we're going to be installing Stack, which is obviously what we bought from Envato. So if we go here to upload theme, and then we want to choose the file. Now the file sometimes does come in this v1.08 zip file. What I want you to do is actually, if you're using a Mac especially, unzip the file, go in here, and then click the Stack WordPress theme zip. This is the file that we actually want to upload. So if we click that and install. Now it shouldn't take too long. You can look at the bottom of your corner, and once it's done here, unpacking the file, installing the theme, and there it is, themes installed successfully. So what we want to do is now activate this theme. So it's activated, and then this is the theme that we are now using. So as you can see, Stack here is currently the active theme. Now the next thing that we want to do is install the plugins that come with Stack. Now there's a couple of different plugins here, and we can do this quite easily by just going to begin installation process. Now, all these plugins are very highly recommended to have and give the install. Everything apart from Visual Composer. This is actually one thing that we don't really need. This is because we're going to be using Variant Page Builder. Now, you really get a choice of one of the two. Variant Page Builder is what the demonstration is going to be, and I'm going to be showing you how to use the ins and outs of Variant Page Builder. So Visual Composer, it's not really needed for this. So you can install it if you like, give you the option later on. I'm just going to leave it. So we've got to install 7 of those 8 plugins. We'll click, now what we want to do is click all the ones we want. And then we click install from the drop down menu and apply. So as this is going, you'll start to see each installation happen individually. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So just keep an eye on that. Again, don't be clicking off the page or going to any other sites at this. All our plugins are installed. You get confirmation of this with this down here. All installations and activations have been completed. So what we want to do is go to return to the required plugin installer. Now this is WooCommerce. At the moment, we don't really need to set this up just yet. This is something that we will do a little bit on later on. So for WooCommerce, I'm going to just say not right now. And we'll skip setup just for the moment until we're near the end and you'll have a bit more idea of the theme. Okay, so all our plugins are installed. Once again, Visual Composer will tell you to install. We're not going to do this. And then if you want to have updates and extras coming straight away from Envato, this is a really good thing that I think you should actually do. All you do is you log in, you enable the updates with the API that you've been given, just for the purpose of the demo. I'm not going to do this now, but it's definitely something I would recommend that you do. Okay, so now we go down to our plugins, and we just want to make sure that all our plugins have been, not only have they been successfully installed, we want to make sure that they are currently active. So the ones that we need, which are highlighted in blue here, these are all active, and especially Variant Page Builder. So that's all good and well. You'll have a couple of these ones here, that anti-spam and Hello Dolly. At the moment, we don't really need any of them, so we're just going to leave them deactivated for the moment, and we're going to begin the process. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is called import demo data. So as we're in Visual Composer, what you'll start to see is if you don't do the one-click demo data, none of your images will actually show while you're editing. So what we want to do is install this plugin. And basically it's this one here. We do have Visual Composer here, but we're not going to be using it. But stack with the variant demo data and we will import. So yes, we want to import this. And just have a look underneath, importing, please wait. Okay, now that's all done. So we have installed that. One of the things with the demo data, it will basically give you a whole range of pages that weren't there before if you've gone and had a look. And we'll talk you through how you go through those individually. But here we are. Let's start to build your... Now we're installed and we're ready to start building this beautiful, beautiful church website. So what we're going to do first of all is just a few general settings, just to make sure that we're getting things a little bit easier, making things a little bit easier for ourselves. So I want you to go into settings and click general. Now here, this is where we have the option to name our site. So when it comes to your church, this is the best thing to do here is just name your church. So for the example of this, I'm going to just name my church Life Church. And with the tagline, I'm going to call this, welcome. You can call this whatever you like, whatever you feel like. Whenever it comes to here, This is just which way you have the date. For example, I know you guys in America, you love having your dates the other way around than the rest of the world. So whatever your time zone is as well, make sure that you hit that. Okay, so now what I want you to do is go down here to permalinks. Now, the way web pages are set up, they can either be set up in many different ways. The best way to do it, I find, is just to have the post name. So what happens is whenever you create a website, for example, I've called this entire page the Join Us page. And as you can see, the hyperlink here is just website.com.au/join us. And so basically, anytime you create a new page, WordPress knows that that's going to be the way it's going to create the page for you. So keep everything else as default there, and then we are all good to go. So save those changes. So now we're ready to start building our website. So to begin with our website, we're actually going to start doing a bit of what we call back-end work. So we're going to do a little bit of behind-the-scenes work before we get into the lovely fancy designs. And we're going to start with actually creating our staff members page. Now, as you can see here, we've got, just for the purpose of the demonstration, we've got our senior pastors with a bit of text about them, Tom and Jen, our assistant pastors, and these can be anybody who you want, anybody that you fancy. And then everybody else here we've got as just a generic staff, but once you click on one of them, it's going to come up with a bit of text about them. And so you can get all your staff members to do this if you want. If you would prefer not to have anything about them and still have their faces, that's fine too. So I'm going to show you how to do this now. So what I want you to do is go here into team members. So if we go into team members, now as you can see, because we've imported Stack and we've imported all their demo data, there's going to be a lot of things that are already here. Now you should be seeing all these people as well. It should have been installed with the theme that you've uploaded. So two different ways you can go about this. You can edit the ones that are already there. To be honest with you, I feel it just gets very messy over time. It's much easier to be organized at the start. So what I'm actually going to tell you to do is delete all of these. So if you select all by just clicking this tick here, move to trash, and away with yous. And then we can go here into team categories. And I thought there would be some categories there. There isn't. So now what we want to do is create our own team categories. Now, as you can see from the website, we've got our generic staff down here. This is anybody who's like connections pastor, admin, or youth pastor. And then we've got a bit from our senior pastors and our assistant pastors. Now you can do this as many people as you want. If you would like to have a little bit about everybody, you can do this. But I'm going to show you how you break those sets of people into 3 categories. So first of all, we're going to have our staff members as a whole. And you'll see why I'm getting you to create a staff members section, because we're actually going to be using team members for something different later on. So what I want you to do is create staff members here. So that's going to be what's called our parent category. So we would need to create our 3 different categories. So we have our senior pastors, and we want to parent this to being a staff member, just so it has a little bit. We also need to have our assistant pastors. And once again, we create the parent to be a staff member. And then we just have general staff. Now, it might seem a bit harsh to call them just general staff. We know that your staff members are a lot more important from that. But as I said, just for the purpose of this demo, this is exactly what we're going to have. If you want to have a full big section of your youth pastor, you can go ahead and create that as well. For the purpose of the demo, I'm just going to show you how to do this with 3. So now we want to go into our team members. Now, as you can see, there's no team members currently, so we need to add a new team member. So here we go. So our first team member, so this is going to be our senior pastors. Now, just for the purpose of this, I'm just going to copy and paste everything over. So we've got Tim and Sarah. And you feel free to go ahead, copy and paste if it just helps you set up. If not, and you can remember exactly who your senior pastors are, go ahead and start putting their names in now. So what I want to do is click Tim and Sarah here. what I want to do is just select senior pastors. I don't want to select staff members, just senior pastors for the moment. Then for their job title, we want to put senior pastors. This is where you will, this here is where you select your file and upload it into WordPress. For the demonstration of this, I'm actually just going to show you of how to upload absolutely everything you could need. So I've got all my pictures here. What I want to do is just select all of these, and then it saves me having to jump in and out while everything is loading. So it just saves me a bit of time, and I don't have to jump in and out and find each file absolutely every single time that I want to upload it. So this is where I would say take a bit of time and get your photographs uploaded. So now all our images are uploaded here, so we can flick through and find the one that we were looking for. So this was our senior pastors. Now, this is obviously just a generic image. It doesn't have to be quite as Shutterstock looking as this, but stick your picture of your senior pastors in here, and then whatever you're looking to write as a bit of a blurb about them, or maybe something that they've written. I would highly recommend something that they've written. I feel it just becomes a lot more personal to your viewers. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm actually just going to input some random text here just for the layout demonstration. But by all means, you type what you would like, and maybe just a little title there. So with the titles for all our staff members, let's keep them consistent. I'm going to make these header 3s. And these are all just going to be paragraphs. So there are little certain shortcuts that you can do if you get used to them. For a Mac, for example, I'm just going to click away just so I can show you more clearly for the demonstration of how to do things like this. So let's just go through the check. We've got our title up here. So this is who they are, a bit about them, what their job title is, their featured image, and make sure they're clicked into senior pastors, and that will become a lot clearer later on. I've just kept the social icons all very similar, like this here. So let's go ahead and we want to publish that. So now that that's published, you can see here you'll get a little notification. And what we want to do is we want to add our next team member. So let's go in and let's see who we've got next. We've got Tom and Jane. So again, for the purposes, I'm just going to be copying and pasting a lot of text. And once again, we want to say something a bit about them. Now, see, this may have changed, so we want to actually make this a heading 3 and keep it consistent. Sometimes it's good to just keep a little note of everything that you've done. So once again, so this is Tom and Jane. These are our assistant pastors, so we want to click that, make sure that that's ticked. We want to put our title, and we want to have assistant pastors, and let's select our featured image for our assistant pastors there. Again, I wouldn't have something quite as romantic as this. It's a nice photo, but again, use your own photos. And there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got everything right there, and we want to publish. And what we want to do now is for our next category. So this is our general staff. So here we've got Jody, who is going to be our connections pastor. So once again, I'm just going to use all the text that I've already done for the purpose of the demonstration. Bit of text there. Let's make this a heading 3 again. Now the thing is with your headings, what you'll start to learn is basically the larger the heading 1, that's going to be your site title. Your heading 2, that's going to be your page title. Heading 3, that's your your next title, and so on and so forth. So you'll start to see that they actually are all pre-indexed, certain font size. So I'm going to show you how to change those at the end. But for the meantime, we just want to just keep everything consistent. So that's wrong thing there. So heading 3. So there we go. We want to have our featured image. So this is Jody. She is our connections pastor. And then what we want to do is we just want to click general staff. And so there we've got our title, we've got everything there that we need, and we want to publish that. Now, as I said, you can do these for as many as you want. You can have as many staff members as you want. You can have as many of these. If you want them to have their own block section, I recommend that you create your own category. So we can just go ahead and add a new category. If you've had a change of heart and you want to have your media director and you want him to be a part of that, then just select staff members, add it to the team category, and there he is. So for it is going to be listed under staff member, just whenever it seems to be whenever you create a new team category the very first time it doesn't, but that will just be a new section. So I want you to, so if that's something that you want to do and you want to create, I've just edited Jodie's for that, so that's actually a bit of a mistake on my part, but if you wanted to then create a new team member and make him your media director, we've got to stick Jodie back here in general staff, update that. But so for anybody that you want to have their own section, you're going to need to make your own category for that, and you'll see why in this next section. Everybody else just stick under general staff. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to actually leave you to do that by yourself, and as I said, just keep adding a new member and just make sure that they're all clicked under general staff. So away you go, enjoy. So here we go, here are all our staff members. So we've got our 4 general staff, our assistant pastors, and our senior pastors all listed into team categories. So what we want to do now is we want to actually create our page now. So what I want you to do is go to all pages. Now once again, as we saw earlier, Stack imports all this information and all these pages here that, to be honest with you, we don't really need. So you can go ahead and edit them individually if you want, but I think the best option really is just to select all and move to trash. And we're just going to start from scratch. So I want you just to click through everything, just move absolutely everything to trash until you've got no pages left whatsoever. So I'm just going to pause this video until we've got no pages left. So there we go, no pages left. It's time for us to create a new page. So what we want to do here is go up to new page, and so we want to call this staff members here. So since we've already created a category, we may as well get ahead and staff members. Now, the more correct your text is, for example, in the headings, this is what's going to show up on the menu. So make sure your spelling and grammar is correct, things being capitals where they need to be capitals. It's a good time to get into that, you start getting into that rhythm. So what you want to do here is just click publish. So all we need is the title. So the page is published, and then what we're going to do is launch Variant Page Builder. So we want to click that, and this is going to be the start of us starting to create what's called the front end. This is going to be what people actually start to see in our website. So this is the exciting stuff. This is where it gets lots of fun. So you'll come up with this page. This page will come up here. I just want you can either click Don't Show Again or click to the side, and that will get rid of that. So here we have our canvas. So as you can see, nothing there just yet. We have our title, we have our menu, and we have our images, our logos, which are going to go here. For the meantime, I actually just want you to really forget all about that. And we can do this really easily by just clicking this X and going up here to the navigation. If we just click no navigation, that'll just start to clear everything away. And it just means that it's not distracting for the moment. We'll clear all this up at the end, but for the meantime, we just want to get the real heart and soul of what we're doing down first. So what I want you to do is add a new block. Now, as you can see, there are lots and lots of different new blocks that you can stick in. So whatever we want to do, we can stick in nice and easily. And if you ever need to get rid of a block by accidentally ticking the wrong thing, just either scroll up here or click this button here and just get rid. So all of these here will be the blocks that you've added. And if you want to add a new one, you just scroll down here. Now, there are about 120,000 odd blocks here. Well, maybe a bit of an exaggeration. So we actually need a way of just filtering through. So it's fortunately Stack has done this nice and easily for us. So if we go in here and just see actually what this page is going to look like. So here we've got just a lovely header here, a background image, staff members, get to know our incredible team. So what we want here, and we just click this drop down, and we click covers. You'll start to see lots and lots of different covers that we can start to use for our website. Now, for this one, I'm going to use cover 1 with text. So I want to click that in there, and as you'll see, it just instantly goes onto the board. And what we do here is by just clicking here, we have a range of different options which allows us to play around. So we can align the text to a different side if we prefer to go that way or that way. You know, if you're left-handed or right-handed and you don't want to discriminate, there we go. We can do what's called a parallax, which is where the image basically stays stationary, but your text will roll up and down it. I haven't actually used it for anything in this website. So as you can see, the text stays with the image. As for if you were to parallax it, the text would move up, but the image would just stay the same. So you can turn that setting on and have a play around with it, and you'll see exactly what it's like. Here you can use inverted colors. So with our image, we've actually got what's called an image overlay. So it's just a bit of a darker cover over the original image. So we can change that to whatever we want. If we want it to be quite dark, we can. If we want it to be completely off. But if you want to have, instead of white text and a black background, you want to have black text and a black background, we can do that nice and easily. So quite easy to do there. So for this, we're going to choose our image. Now, as we saw earlier, I've already updated all our images into the library. So what I want you to do is click the image that you would like to use, and there's our image in. I want to make it a little bit darker just so that we can see our text. And then we can adjust the section height, so if we want it to be quite slim, we can. You can always scroll up and down here, even though we've got the one box at the moment. So when it comes to pages, a little design tip is you never want your first box to go past the point of the window. So once this goes down here, there's not actually something for your users to see. It doesn't really make it very clear that it's easy to scroll. I'll show you that in a second. So it's always good to go for just where there's a little bit of a space between here and here, because it just shows that there's another window and your users will just get used to the scrolling as to walk instead of clicking through it all the time. So I quite like that to be there. So I want to then just close this. And to change the text, really simple, you just click. So as you can see there, just click on the text that you want to change. So here we want to just call this staff members. Now, as you can see, my font has quickly just changed into a paragraph, which means that the text is going to be quite small. So we want to change this to a page header. So as I said, this is the one that you want to use for your site header. So this is going to be the very front page. So for all our other pages, we want to use section 2. You can use a section 2, or you can go to a section 1 if you really fancy. I'm just going to keep it nice and consistent, go for section 2 for this, but and then because that's not quite as big as we first maybe imagined, let's scroll that down ever so slightly. So as you can see, there's this button here. Now, I don't have this button here on the original website, so it's quite easy to be able to remove that. It's easy to remove this. So just by right-clicking on it, we can just right-click, remove, and there she goes, completely gone. And as you can see, I had a little bit of a subheading for this one, so let's just click here again. And if you want to, you can add as much text here as you like. So what did we have? Get to our amazing team. So you can obviously change the caps where you want it to be caps and everything for the sort. For the moment, I'm just going to keep it like this. So get to know our amazing team. Let's just make this a lead paragraph. Whenever you first log on, you might just see that your box looks a little bit like this. If you want a few more options, just click this box here. And lead paragraph is just your paragraph setting, but it just gives you a little bit of a slightly bigger font to use. So there we go. So there's our first box there. So now what we want to do is start to add our different team members. So as you can see, we've got all our covers, all our sections here. So we want to scroll down into team. And we've got three options here. We've got team 1, which is circles, squares here, and we've got team single. So what we want to do is we want to add that. Now, as you can see, that James A, our creative director, is the first to show up. But remember, that's not actually what we want to show up. We wanted our senior pastors, Tim and Sarah. So easily done. So this button here is going to become your best friend after a while. So what I want you to do is just click here, and I want you to go down to show all categories. And what I want you to do is click senior pastor. So this is going to be where our senior pastors now have come in. So we can choose, and this is why I said to, if you wanted to make another category for like our media director, for example, we never actually assigned anyone to that, but this is where if you want an individual, this is a really good way of doing it. So senior pastors, let's click that there. And this is where we get to play about with the colour ever so slightly. And again, I will show you at the very end of how we can change the colours to be slightly more sort of a different colour. But I actually really recommend keeping with the black, the grey, and the white. I think it just makes everything so clear and so simple. Actually, it's a really, really beautiful style. So the amount that we want to show, we just want to keep that there as 1 because we've only got 1 in the category. You can flip this either way if you fancy, but there's our senior pastors. And now what we want to do is we want to add our next ones. So we want to click team single again. So now it's loaded up. Once again, James is there. We don't really want James to be there. We want our assistant pastors. And again, as I said, if you have more categories, just replicate this for as many as you want. Now, from the original, we had Tim and Sarah here, and as you can see, the colour's a little bit different, and we flipped it around. This just makes things so much easier just by using Stack. Just flip it around, change the colour, Bob's your uncle, there it is. And so we've got all that there, and now we just want to add the rest of our team. So if we click into our team, this will load, and here's the rest of our team. Now notice that Tom and Jane, Tim and Sarah, they've been included in this, but actually we don't really want them there. This is why we had the category of general staff. So if we click general staff, it means only the ones that we've selected in that will be there. So we've now got all our staff members that we've created. Obviously you can create as many as you would like. And if you do have more than 6, just change this to as many as you've got. If it's 19, it's 19. Go for it. Obviously we've only created 4, so it's only going to show 4. But if it's 19, if it's 20, if it's 20,000, if you're getting really into this, just go ahead and create whatever you would like. So there's our first page completely done. I think that was only 10, 12 minutes maybe. Absolutely no time at all. So if you want to just continue to do this for any of the rest of your church pastors, go ahead and replicate it. But that's our staff members page completely done. So the main thing is that we save this. So if we just go here and we click save, I'd really get into the habit of turning, because whenever you can go into the settings and turn on the autosave settings, it will only save every minute. I really recommend that you just get into the habit of anytime you finish the page, regardless of the autosave, just click save straight away and get back into that old school habit. So now what we want to do is we want to first of all just view it in the page view, and I just want to show you just that your clickable links will work quite nicely. So this is exactly how your new website is starting to look already. So there we have everything. And if we want to click James, there he is. Now these will change a little bit later on from a few tweaks that we're going to do, but there you go. So there's all the other information that you've put in there about him earlier on. So good. So the next thing that we're actually going to do is we're going to go in and make our church teams. So if we go into our homepage, what we have are, well, I'm calling them church teams. This is basically our church week. So we've got information about the church, weekly support groups like life groups or connect groups, whatever you call them, and our fun for all ages. Now, the way we're actually going to do this is we're going to go back into our website. Make sure you've saved this page. Don't forget about that. We want to go into the back end of WordPress again. You'll start to hear me refer to this side as the front end. And if it looks a bit like this, this is going to be what's called the back end. Now, just to let you know, whenever you do create a page and you've used Variant, it's really important that anytime you edit something, you just go straight and launch Variant. Once you press this button, everything that you've already created will be deleted. So Variant is pretty much a bit of a front side override. So what we want to do now is create a new set of team members. Now, technically speaking, what we're about to create aren't members of our team, but we're going to use the exact same format that we used earlier. So I want you to go back into team categories, and this time we're going to call this Church Week. Now, I just found this was just the easiest way I could remember having this sort of whole category. You can call this whatever you want. So basically, it's all going to be separated into Church Week and then into staff members. So what we have for our Church Week? Well, we have our church, we have life groups, and we have fun for all ages. So I want you to go ahead and create those three categories. So we have fun for all ages, and we want the parent to be Church Week. And then what we want to have is our church, again, parent, Church Week, and our final one was life groups. Again, Church Week, there's your new category. So these are going to be what we want to, this is going to be what we want to create. And we want to go back into team members. And once again, we want to start creating some new teams. So at the moment, forget all this. There are staff members. We've done that. We don't want to touch it. We want to start creating our Church Week. So this is going to be our first page. This is going to be the fun for all ages. So make sure you get your text right. And this is going to be, basically all we're using this for is just so that we can use this navigation tool down here. There are other ways of doing this. I find that this is actually the best organized way. It might just seem a little bit obscure, a little bit long. I just think it's the most aesthetically beautiful way you're going to be able to do this. And it just makes everything a little bit later on. If you ever go and edit any of these things, all this information at the start just gives you a little bit of a better hand. So fun for all ages, we want to go in here and we want to click fun for all ages. And whatever our job title is, this is just going to be our subtitle. So for the fun for all ages earlier on, I just had meet people in your sphere of life. Again, you can call this whatever you fancy, but even though it's not strictly a job title, we're just going to use it as that. And then what we want to have is our featured image as well. So our featured image, we had just a load of teenagers, didn't we? A load of young adults gathering. There we go. Fun for all ages. Let's stick that in there. So that's going to be our featured image. Once again, the social icon is going to remain exactly the same as that. And we're just going to publish that. So fun for all ages is created. And then the next one we have our life groups. So we want to, once again, add new life groups. And notice actually that we are just leaving this blank for the moment, and I'll show you why later on. It's because we're going to design all this in the front end, so anything you put here is just going to get deleted straight away. So our life groups, live life in weekly small groups. So this is any connect groups you have, anything that you have going on. We want to create our life groups, set our featured image, and there we go. Life group set. Let's publish that. And our final one is our church. So it's our church. And we want to go down here. Oh, now just notice that I've actually made a little mistake. I've hit update, but I didn't actually hit add a new team member. So make sure that if you do that, that you go in and change it. So life groups, is what we want to call this. We didn't click update, so nothing will have changed, but I just like to have that little bit of extra control. And then what we want to create is our final one here. So this is going to be our church. Now, I've already organized these in certain ways because this is kind of how I see this category being church week. I know a lot of churches have a lot of other different things that go on during their week, such as courses. You know, if you've got alpha courses and stuff, or marriage courses, you know, you can do a whole nother category and just have another courses button. And then we just, once it comes to editing this, instead of having 3, we have 4. Or if you've got other things, you know, sports teams, you've got other things, you know, the more that you have, this is a really great place to add them. So once again, for the purpose of this, I'm just doing 3, but I recommend that anything that goes on within the life of your church through the week, you go ahead and you create a team category for it, and then you create the page for it here. So here we have is our church, and we have this lovely image right here. Our church. Done. Published. So, once again, believe it or not, that is everything done, ready to go. It's only time to just then start actually creating those pages. Now, we're actually going to stick with team members, and one of the things I'm going to show you here is fun for all ages. Now, I broke this down into different categories once again, and I don't know how you do your small groups, but I'm just going to run you through each page one by one. So our church page is just going to be a single page, and it's just going to have everything that you have about your church all under one thing. So this is a what to expect. You know, if there's a certain clothing style that you would prefer your guests, your congregation to wear, this is a great place to write it in. Things, you know, what type of music you have, just little tiny paragraphs here, just to be able to give people a little feel. I believe a picture speaks 1,000 words, which is why I absolutely love having imagery on my websites. So the next part here is values. So I've separated it into this here, where you've got, you know, 4 different values that you would like to stick in. And it's a really good way for people to get a clear idea of your church. Our plan, and again, just details of where you started from, where you are now, and, you know, what does the future hold. So it's a really good way of doing things like that. And here we have our life groups. Now, I've just put life groups again. The way my church would do life groups is we would do it all via Sunday morning. So if you come to church on a Sunday morning, we have a Connect Group board, and we have Connect Group pastors who are able to get people planted. We also do have a contact number. This isn't it, but this is just a way of just saying what life groups are, how to get into life groups, how, you know, if there's a contact number, it's necessary. Contact hours. You can even add an image here of who to look out for. Maybe there's a welcome team leader that you feel that you would like to show here, or your connections pastor, somebody that they can actually look out for whenever they turn up on a Sunday. And our final one is our fun for all ages. So if we actually just go back into the homepage, and if somebody was to say, click on fun for all ages, it would bring them to this page here, where once again we've got yet another breakdown of 3 different categories. So if somebody was to go into young adults here, then we've got all our information here of what is it, what are the different events that you have, and then basically a hyperlink that will go straight to your events page. But I'm going to show you how to add that in a little bit later on. So as I said, when it comes to our fun for all ages, we've actually got yet another breakdown that we would like to add. So this actually means creating a whole another set of team members. You're going to be sick of this, but I swear this is the last one you'll have to do. So what we want to do is go back into team categories, and this time we've got fun for all ages as a parent category. So fun for all ages. Now we're not actually going to make a specific page, so this is where you can actually just put a P for parent or parent, just so whenever you're adding, when it comes to later on and you're actually selecting something for a certain thing, you're going to be selecting this one and not this one. This is just so that we can group in, and I'll show you why later on, because this is just going to be so that you actually select this one for the page, but this is just to regroup your young adults, your kids, your youth, anything. Again, for the demonstration, I've only done 3, but if there's anything that you want to create, just put under this subcategory. One of the things is, as this is all under a subcategory, it's a really good way to sort of keep this menu and the menu on our homepage separate. So fun for all ages, parent. So we're going to make that as a team category. It's not going to have a parent. And then we're going to create our different categories once again. So kids, this is going to be under fun for all ages, parent. So stick that as a category. Then our youth, fun for all ages, parent, and our young adults, fun for all ages, parent. Boom, there we go. So what we want to do is go back into team members, and we want to start creating these 3 pages here. So what we want to do is, once again, add new, and you're going to start to get the hang of this. This is going to be kids. So we find our fun for all ages parent, select kids, add a photograph, and I've got this little photograph here. And then see our Ministry Kids programs. Once again, you're using job title just as your subheader. And once again, you've got this, you've selected kids, you've got your title. We don't need anything in here, so we're just going to go ahead and submit. So we want to add new, youth, fun for all ages, parent, youth. What's our youth going to be? Thrive Fridays. And then we just want to select our image once again. So our image for this, 3 young people walking. There we go. Let's add this. And we want to publish this. And then our young adults as well. So final one. Young adults. And as I said, make sure you get it under the parent, and if you have any other, for the demo I'm just showing you how to make 3 different categories just to get you in that rhythm. You can make as many of these as you would like. So we've got this lovely image here and our young adults, after parties and gatherings. So this is thankfully the last of these that we're going to have actually made. So we're actually now going to do very little back work now. And we're going to come back to these pages, but for the meantime, we've got all the back-end information that we need for to create all our fun for all ages, all our categories, all our age groups, connect Sunday pages. So now what we want to do is we want to start creating them. So we're going to create our home page first. So I want you to add a new page, and this is going to be home. And just before we launch publish it first. Just before we launch Variant Page Builder, I want you to come down here into Settings, and we want to go into Reading. Now, basically, WordPress will ask you for which is the page you would like to be your front page. It automatically selects the latest posts page, so this will be your first blog or the last page that you've made. But what we want is a static page. So the very first page is going to be our home page, and we don't want that to move. And our post page, we'll come and do that whenever we start to set up our blog. But for the meantime, the home page is going to be the one that we want, and that's exactly what we want to do. And so search engine visibility here, this is something where there's a checkbox here to discourage search engines from indexing this site. we want to really make sure that this is unticked. Unless you want to be off Google and you don't want to appear in search engines, then click this box. But if you do want to appear in search engines, keep this unticked. So I'd like to appear in search engines. So we're going to save this, and our homepage is going to be where our domain is going to go straight to. So we want to go into home and straight to appeal. You can, if you've spelt anything wrong or you want to change it, you can. If you need to set a parent page if needs be, always just make sure that this just says default template. That's the only advice I'd give you there for any of this. It's already published, so we can just update that. But to save you going straight in the page, we just want to edit with Variant Page Builder. So we're going to click this. That's going to take us straight to our home page. So now here we go, we've got a blank page ready to go again. As you can see, we've built a new page, we've still got all our headers and footers. We can go back into here and just click pages. We've got a staff members page and our home page for the meantime. We can just go in here, click this X, and let's just for the moment get rid of navigation. So you can get rid of that if you want, just so that you don't have that everything lying around there, but you can keep it, use the global option if you want. We will change this later on, and you'll see how these buttons will change into looking like these. So here we have our home page, and once again I'm just going to talk you through it. So we will have our logos. Whenever you have your church logo, this is where you're going to import it, but it's not going to be just yet. So here we have, once again, a big hero image. So what we want to do is add this in. So what we want to do is go into add blocks, and we want to tick covers once again, and we're going to use the same cover as we did for the last page that we did, which was cover text 1. So if we click that and we go back here into this button here, we want to select our image. So for this one, I decided for the demo it's going to be a church in New York. So this is where you can choose a picture of the place that you're in. You can choose a picture of your church building if you've got one, and whatever you would like to choose. So I'm going to go back with this one here. There we go. I'm using quite big image files for this, so it's going to be a wee bit slow. As I've said to you earlier on, use compressed images. It will just make your website run so much quicker, especially on mobile, and it'll help you just be able to do everything a little bit quicker. So here we go. So here we have our title. So this is our site title. This is the big one. So what we want is Life Church, and you know what, just for the purpose of this, Life Church NYC. So there we have it. There's that. And as you can see from the main one here, I actually had Welcome to Life Church, and then a little bit of a subcategory. But you can do this as you want. So as I said, just click the text, go in here, and welcome to. We want this to not be a heading 1. We want this to be a lead paragraph. We can save that. So we can do whatever we want there. And what we can do is, if we really, really want to, although for the main page, I decided not to use a button. I decided to stick something else in there. But if we really wanted to have this as a link to one of our pages, we could do that really easily. So just for the purpose of this demo, I actually might show you how to just have this Join Us button right here, just so it's something that people see. So we're going to wait, but we will have to come back to whenever we've actually created our Join Us button. So Join Us. I always like to put a little asterisk if I haven't included the hyperlink just yet, just so I don't forget. So what we want to do is we want to make this a little bit darker, just so our text stands out a little bit. I quite like that there. If we really wanted to, we can put the parallax back on. I think I will for this one. We can choose inverted colors if we really wanted to. It doesn't really stand out too well, so we're going to go back to the way things were. There we have it. That's the first part of our page done. And now we have this little text box here. So we've got different ways of sort of saying, these are our 4 service times that we have daily. Well, not daily, every Sunday. These are the 4 service times that we have on Sundays. So what we want to do is add this in. So you'll find this just under titles. So a little bit misleading. And it's this very last one at the bottom. So you'll come here, find this typed text title. So what we want to do is just click. You'll have seen that if your screen won't always automatically scroll down to where you've added it, but you can see that it's here just by using this here. So what we want to do is scroll down here, and as you can see, Stack has already created some things for us. Now, for the first part, we can easily just type it in by just clicking here. So what did we have? We had join us every Sunday. This is going to be hard to copy and paste. Join us every Sunday from, I've actually lost where I had, ooh. Don't do what I just did. There it is. So I would just recommend that you just type away. So join us every Sunday from. And as you can see that it's pretty hard to type in here anything, and actually it's impossible to. So what we do here is we actually edit everything here. Everything is just done from having a comma in between something. So you can have 9 and 11:30, comma, 11:30, comma, 4, comma, and 6, comma. So that's how you do that. So that basically anything that you could want, and you can use this for so many different things. If you wanted to, talk about your different groups that you have, or different worship. Come join us for worship. Anything you want, you can use that for. But I'm going to use it for service times. What I want to do is I want to stick this in the center, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of gap in between the text and the border, and you can make this as big or as small as you want. If you want this to be really small, you can make it small. If you want to make it overly large, you can do that if you would like. And I think auto always seems to be a good option sometimes. I think I'm going to go for the auto. So that's just what it's set to, which in this case is, between small and medium. So there it is. Join us every Sunday. If you would like to have something else, you would rather have 9 a.m., 11:30 a.m., 4 p.m., and 6 p.m., go right ahead. And so there it is, all ready for you to go. So what's next is You're Forever Welcome. So this is just, again, it's just another title, but it's the first way that you can stick a few images for people to see. A picture speaks 1,000 words, and just a little invitation of, why you're welcome to the church. So let's go back in here. This is going to be under covers, and you'll just scroll down in covers, and it's this one here. It's cover image 4 if you want to write it down. And as you can see, it looks slightly different. Again, there's buttons there that we're just going to right click, and we're going to click remove. And this little one here, we just want to click on it, get rid of the text, and that's there. So whatever we want to sort of put in here as our title and as our text, as you can see here, go in here, we just click, we edit the text, make sure that this is, I'd quite like this to be a heading 2, just so it's not overruling the side header. Now we've got our text, I'd quite like this to be lead, text, a lead paragraph, and there we go, Bob's your gun. You're forever welcome. Name this anything that you want. And then this is a great place to start putting a few pictures of your church. So, perhaps I thought it would be best to go for a worship one to begin with. And what else do we have? Somebody's preaching, and then a little bit of people talking. A picture that has laughter, people who are actually from your church. If they're laughing, that'll just speak absolute volume to the kind of church that you are. Images really display exactly who you are as a church. So there we go, just another image in there. So there we go, that's this part here. And what we want to do next is start to add our church week. So here we have our church week. So once again, we want to go in here. Now, if you remember, this is under team. So you want to go into our team, and we want to select a team one this time. These are circles. And so as you can see, everything once again is spotted up. We want to go in here, and we want to select our church week category. So where is it? There it is, church week. It says 6. We've only made 3, but just for the sake of this, we want to create 3. And so there's that fully created, ready to go. And if we want to change anything sort of color-wise or image-wise, we can do that really easily. And if we want to go in and we want to change just how big, how much gap there is between different sections, we can do quite easily. Again, I'm going to keep this in auto. If we want to change this to be a different color, we can do nice and easily. And that's okay. Yeah, so if we want to go in, if we want to change the color, we can do. If we want to change the size, that's more than okay. So I'm going to go in, I'm just going to keep that there, actually, that looks quite nice. If we want all the text we can change the align. Now, just to let you know, what is up here is basically anything, if you would like something not to be on a mobile view or a tablet view, you can just uncheck it. I've kept everything ticked for the meantime. We can go through things, and if you find that actually this doesn't really look too great on the mobile, just log straight back in and uncheck it. I like the way this looks particularly. It actually comes in a vertical format on the mobile, so I'm going to keep everything checked. So there we have it. The next part is our testimonial. So now what we want to do is actually go in and start creating some testimonials. So what we can do is go in here, and there is a section here called testimonials. And if you select any of them, so let's say we select this one here, unfortunately we have to actually edit everything in the back end. So if you want to be able to do that, that's more than okay. You just have to leave WordPress. Instead of going into the team categories, you click testimonials and you create a new one there. I actually prefer just to do this slightly differently because we're not actually having anything huge. So what I want you to do is actually to just go in here into text, and this is where you've got a lot of different categories to choose from with text. You can even go into here, and features large is what I've chosen for this one, and I've actually chosen features large 4, which just gives me an option to have a real good side profile picture. So that's easily done by just clicking this button here. So that's easily done by just clicking this button here to change the image. It can also be done by just going here, changing the images once again, and we go down and we find the photo that we were going to use. So there's our photo, moving away, and we can change the background if we want. We can change it to white, we can change it to black if we fancy. And this is just, it gives you a bit more freedom just to type exactly whatever you want. Because the way I would quite like this testimonial to go is by having a small paragraph here of just an overview of the testimonial, but then a link to go from here into the testimonial part. And I'll show you how to add this hyperlink again later on. So what we want to do is, so I'll show you this here. Once we add this hyperlink, what we're going to do is just go into our church, and it's in stories. And here we go. So it's a bit more, you can go into a lot more depth, and that's where we're actually going to create our testimonial from. So if we go back in here and really type in whatever we wanted as our just as our text, keep that there. I want to make this a lead paragraph once again, just give it a bit more structure. So this is where you want something, I guess, just an overview of what somebody's going to be talking about in their story. So for this, I've just written, I joined Life Church in July 2016. Since then, I've given my life to Jesus and been able to do incredible things. So it's an incredible, testimonies are an incredible way to get people into your door, of just seeing another little bit of how the life-changing effects have happened. You're going to have people who are really searching for different parts of their life, and stories are just a fantastic way to do that. There's other blogs that will tell you great ways of how to write perfect church stories for your websites, and you'll be able to find there's absolutely no problem. Churchware blog, great one. Before Sunday, another really good one as well there. So, so I've actually, so we've got that there. We'll have our title, and just gonna call it My Story, and our character for this is Nikki. So once again, we go in here, click this, bring it up. Let's format this to lead paragraph, heading 2. There we go, so My Story. And we can change this if we would like to have a bit more of a there we go, a bit more of the image. And there it is. So if we would like to have it this side, we can do that, no problems. Sorry. So then what we want to do, so if we just highlight this and we click Insert Link. Now we haven't actually created the page yet. So for the meantime, we're just going to put in a hashtag. So in the meantime, we're just going to stick in a hashtag. And as I said, I like to just have a little asterisk there, just so that I know I have to add this link in later on. So whenever we do add that hyperlink in and we've created the page, that's something where that can take us to. And then our final part down here is our map. So this is really lovely and easy to do. So we go down here, and it's actually in the contact section. So we've got lots of different contact sections, lots of different maps. I like to choose this map here, which is called Map API 1. Just gives a little bit of a, as you can see, just a slightly different view. As you can see, this is currently the Melbourne Museum, which is not our church, but it can easily become our church. So what we have here is our address. So for the meantime, we're just going to change the text in here. So there's our address, all added in. And you'll have noticed that the map has not yet changed. So the way we do this is, first of all, what we want to do is actually we want to go into Google Maps. Now, if you're registered on Google, this will make life so much easier that you can actually type in church. And so there's actually a Thriving Life Church here. If that was our church, we could quite easily just select the address from here and copy and paste it in. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to be using a completely made up location in the middle of New York somewhere. I just want to Google exactly where that is. It is an address. Yep. So it is gonna, if it pinpoints here, if your church isn't actually on Google Maps, you can just, click the vague proximity, make sure that you actually have, the address all typed in. Just make sure that you actually just have the full address ready to go. Once you have the full address ready, copy and paste it in to this address part, and there it is. It'll pop up. Now, this is the Google API key, so don't touch this. This is just a map style. So this is a bit of code that Stack have used, and you can zoom in and out of how close you want the zoom level to be, if you'd like to be really close in. And so here we have the map of it. As I said, just by all means, we can change the background of this, and yeah, we can have our backgrounds changed and really go. For this one, I actually just want to flip this. I like when there's two images basically going diagonal from each other. But that is it. That is our homepage built and ready to go. So we're going to save this. Very important. Page saved. Start building the rest of our pages. So we're going to go back into WordPress. So what we're going to do now is start to build some of these pages. So we're going to go in and start to build our church page. And as I've given you the run through, we're going to start to build a site a bit like this. So what I want you to do is go back into team members, because this is where we actually built this page. Now, although we are technically creating a new page, we're just going to build it from here so that we don't have to edit our church as a page and also as a team member. So if you go into our church and you click edit, and as I said earlier, so we've got this part here that we don't actually want to touch. That's because we're going to override everything with using Variant Page Builder. So I want you to open Variant Page Builder. So now we've got this new part of our website. So this is still technically a page, even though it's going to come up within just editing a team member. So this is the page that we're wanting to build. And what we want to do is have our title and all these different boxes in here. So the first thing we're going to do is, again, if you would like to keep all these things here, if you want to get rid of them, you can do. I'm just going to keep them as global options. But we want to add our cover first. So we click our new block, go into covers, and this is the cover that we're wanting to select. Now, I think that I've used this cover quite a lot during the website, so get used to seeing quite a lot of it. But here we go. This is the page that we're wanting to make. So we've got our church and our subheading there. So let's put this in here. So that's ready to go there. So that's ready to go. And we just want to make this heading 2. And there we have our church. And currently we don't have a call to action and we just want to get rid of the text. So right click and remove and click on this. And what we can do is just delete the text and then we're ready to go. We've got our images here, and the way we add these images is by just selecting here. So here we've got a bit of worship, somebody preaching, and then just a few people just enjoying their time. So we've got our worship image there, which we want to add in. Then we want our middle image, which is going to be our preacher here. And then our final one, just our young adults having a good old natter. And as always, you can always change this. You can always make this as big as or as little as you want. As you can see, I've accidentally added 2 of these pages, so I'm just going to go in here and get rid of the second one, and then that's ready to go. So we've got this all completed. The next part that we want to do is our what to expect. Now you can do this in many different forms. I've decided just to use text for this, so come in here, select text, and we scroll down. And I've just used white text layout with 3. So this way you can type in whatever you want. So here we've got a what to expect. And then this is just going to scroll down and we can make this a lead paragraph as well if we fancy. And so there we go. So that's the kind of text. And if we want to get rid of the titles here but just have the text, we can do that, no problem here. And just really it's up to you for whatever you want to stick in there. I quite like just having basically it's your way of doing it is to put your what to expect into 3 different bullet points. So if you've got things like if there's a dress code for your church, for example, maybe what the music's like, just really give somebody 3 bullet points of what to expect whenever they walk into your church on a Sunday morning, how you want them to feel, what is the kind of the things that they don't want to have to be thinking about before they come. So that's a great place to do that. So I will just edit this last one again and make this all paragraph, It's up to you whether you want to choose a lead paragraph or not. So I just like to keep it all consistent, whatever you decide to choose. And there you go. And for this one, I'm just going to make it black and bring the text down just a little bit. So maybe make this heading a little bit bigger. And there we go. So that is our what to expect. And then our next part here is our values. So you'll notice here I have got values and a little subtitle, and then all the values just here. So basically it's split up into two parts. There's a section header and then a section. So this is nice and easily done. So we just come in here and we click titles. And there's lots and lots of different titles you can choose. You can choose different page titles if you fancy, or section titles. So I quite like to go for the section titles. This again, you can use your text title if you would like. So I'm just going to choose centered section title. So this is going to be our values. So once again, always just click on the text to edit it and go from there. So values, and that's our just a subtitle if we want to show exactly what our values are going to be. And then what we want to do is add the next part, which is this here. So the way I've done this is just if you've got 4 values, it's just to split your values into 1, 2, 3, and 4. Value A, just give that a title, and then what your actual value statement is. And you can find this really easily in the process part. So if we go into here and we choose processes, then this is processes 3BG. So you can either use it without a picture in the background. I always like, for just a bit of a design point of view, if you've got a white background, then to use either color and then back to white and then an image, or white image, just it really breaks it up. If you have image, it starts to just look a lot crowded. Using the white backgrounds, just give it a bit more space. So here you go. This is where you can easily just launch and say, one of our core values is Jesus died for you. Whatever you fancy, and then just make sure that you get your formatting right of making this a paragraph. And as you can see, this is a really lovely way to show your values, and you can just click and edit every single one of these as much as you like. And to change your image, we just go in, click this setting bar, and change your image again. So the image that I had for this one was just some hands raised worship. So there it is. We can click this. And we've still got the options of having parallax if we fancy that. If we want inverted colors, I prefer the sort of where it looks like, it doesn't stand too much off the page. So I really like this. I think this looks really, really brilliant. We can make this as dark as we want. So, it's hard to read there. So let's just make that nice and dark so our text really stands out well. And then that is us for that part. If we want to align it in a different way, we can do that nice and easily. So there we have it. And then our next part here is going to be our plan. So once again, I'm just going to add in exactly the same title that I did last time. So we're going to go down into titles and section title. And this is going to be our plan. And then we want to make this a paragraph, not a lead paragraph. So we've just got a little bit about our plan. I want to make this a little bit smaller, just as it's a section title. And then once again, we want to add this timeline effect. Now, once again, we find this in the processes bar. So back to where we were earlier on, down here in process. And if you just scroll up here, you can find this section right here. So it comes in 3 different modes already, just giving you three opportunities. If you want to add more, it's easily done by just clicking this plus, and there's going to be your 4th. And if you want to have a 5th, just keep adding. And if you decide, we just want 3 or we just want 1, we can easily do that. So just a really good way is just making sure that you get these in the right order. And so, for example, we'll just get rid of that one, but then we'll add this one. So just to make it all nice and spaced out. So here we are. So we've got these 3. So the way I'm just going to do this for the purpose of the demo is just a past, present, and future. So So here we go. We founded in 2009. Then update with a little paragraph about what you're doing there. Now I've got 4,000 members, over 4 services, and this can be whatever you want, for example. Over 4 services, and then, where's the future horror? So new location 2018. So really, really easily edited. Change your text, and voila, there you go. And once again, we always can change this image just by clicking here and selecting our image. So for this one, we had something different. We had this fella here in his worship pose. So there we go, and we can change this to be as dark as we like. One of the things with transparent images, it's always a really, really great thing to use. It's a very modern trend, and it just makes your text stands out a whole lot more than just using the black background. And you're not going to have really difficult areas to read if you keep it off. So I definitely believe that having the transparency background looks really, really great. And once again, if you want to change your colors, you can do that, absolutely no problems at all. So we can change how much of a space between the borders that we would like, and I think I'm going to keep this quite large actually for that. So there we have it. So that is our church page, our church page created, done, ready to go in really just a matter of minutes. So what I want you to do is click save on this one, wait for it to be saved, and there you have it. So we can edit this any point. But what I want you to do is just go back into WordPress. So exit into WordPress, and you'll notice here that this is where, if we want to come and edit our church, we just go back into team members and we edit our church. This just saves you having to do a whole lot of hyperlinks later on during the session. So whenever you want to come and edit this page, just make sure you're clicking Launch Variant Page Builder, any one of the blue buttons here. If you press the red button, you're going to delete everything that you've just created, so it's best not to do that. But there you have it. That is our church done and dusted. Okay, so the next one that we want to create is our life groups. So these are connect groups, life groups, whatever your church decides to call them. These are your weekly groups where people will, members of your church meet up in either age groups or centered around different families, just for people to live life together. So the way we're going to do this is go back in here and we go back to our team members. And once again, we find life groups. So here we are, we've created it earlier on. So we want to go in, we want to edit our life groups. And just as before, we just want to launch variant page builder. Everything's already created for us. We want to go back in, we're going to have a blank page, a nice blank canvas ready to go. And what we're going to do is, all we're going to do this time is just, once again, the same cover that we've had earlier with a couple of images. And then we're just going to have a bit of a text box of, what is a life group? How do you get into a life group? And then a bit of contact information for you. So if we go in here and we go down into covers once again, you're going to start to find this cover nice and quickly because we're going to be using it a lot. So here we go. So there is, there's our text. So let's stick in our text here. Save that. And once again, we just want to get rid of these hyperlinks. So right click, remove, click here, delete all. So here we are. And then we've got our 3 images once again. So 1, 2, 3. Let's get those in by just clicking here and clicking on the selected image. Now, you're going to start to be able to just get the hang of this very quickly. So for this image here, we've got this one here. This image, we'll have this. And then finally, our couple praying together. There we go. So in just a couple of seconds, we've got, the first half of our life groups page done and dusted, ready to go. And just the second part of that is just going to be another text box. So if we go down here into text, now the one I've used for this is, where would it? Oh, here it is. So text layout 1. And it's just, basically it's all set up, ready to go. So for this, we've just got our title and our first bit of text. So if we want to go in here, we can put this in. And one of the things that whenever you've got two different paragraphs and you want one to stand out above the other one, what you can do is make one a lead paragraph and the other one not. So you've got a slight different bit of text if needs be, if you want this part here to stand out a little bit more. And then here we've just got our information. So what we had was how to join a Connect group. So I don't know how you would do this for your church. I know for ours that most of it's all done within a Sunday morning and meeting particular people. So we just want to give a few directions on how to join a Connect group. Perhaps you have a connection stand in your church, a really great place to show. If not, as well, one of the things that we have in our church is, there's a contact number for you to call and go straight through to our connections pastor. So what we want to do is just put that number there and then also just what the contact hours would be. So Tuesday to Friday, stick it in, save it there, and just once again just keep an eye on your headers. So for this one I just used a header 5 for this and a paragraph down here just to keep a little bit of text difference. But there you have it, there's your life groups already sorted. I'm actually just gonna, I think, change the look of this from grey to white, and maybe I wanted to change this to having a bit of a more grey texture. I can do that absolutely no problem. So design it for however you feel is going to look best, and then just get stuck straight into putting the information in there. So once again, we want to just save this, page saved, and we want to go back into WordPress. So click exit into WordPress, and that's our life groups all done and dusted. So the next part that we want to do is our fun for all ages. Now, if you remember, there's 3 different categories, and I recommend that you do this for every age group within your church. But what we're going to do is we're going to individually do these one by one. But first of all, we're going to have our fun for all ages overview page. So this is just a link for whenever I click fun for all ages here, it's going to come up. And we're going to go straight into a Fun for All Ages part where we can see all the different age categories. So if you remember, we've done this once again in team members. So this is where you just need to keep your wits about you and just follow this step a little bit more carefully than before. So we've got all our young adults here. And remember, we've got our Fun for All Ages here. So this is our Fun for All Ages. And we did have a Fun for All Ages parent, but we never created a page for that. So if you're wondering where that is, what we want to do is just click Fun for All Ages. So we want to go in here and we want to click Edit, and once again launch Variant Page Builder. Now our page is created, everything's there ready to go. So here we've got just, this time we've just got a one image title with a header and then our team again. So let's go into Stack. We want to create a new cover. So let's go into covers, and just to keep it consistent, I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to select text cover 1. The image that I'm going to use is this, your man diving into the water here. And we're just going to put the title Fun for All Ages. So if we select that, make this another heading, and then we can remove our hyperlink with the right click. And then, just so that our text stands out a little bit more, we can make that darker, we can move the section height to whatever we want. We can make this a parallax if we want. As you can see here, that this is what the parallax is. This is where the text will actually roll up the image as you scroll down. It just sometimes makes things a little bit more clearer. It adds a nicer effect in some ways. So we can just add that in. So that's what happens when you click on parallax. Do we want to change the color? No, we like the way it is. And that's all that ready to go. And then the next part, we just go back into our team category and we add team 1. So once again, we've got lots of different things, some that we will need, some that we won't. But what we want to create this time is our Fun for All Ages parent, because they're going to give us the links to the things that we would like. So Fun for All Ages parent, so we select that, and now we've got our 3 links there ready to go. That is that absolutely done. We don't need to, we can change some of the text in here if needs be, but all that's done in the back end. So if you do end up changing some of your teams, maybe the labeling of the teams, you can just do that from the back end and it will update automatically into the front section. So there we go. We want to save that page and keep a note of that we've made that page. So that's our Fun for All Ages page. And now we want to go back into WordPress. And once again, Fun for All Ages. And now what we want to do is we want to start creating these 3 pages. So we've got our young adults, our youth, and our kids. And the way we're going to do this is just exactly the same as our connect groups, by having this hero header, the 3 images, information about young adults, maybe informations about different things that happen in the young adults, like if there's after church after parties, or gatherings that happen, or big events. This is a good place to do it. And then there'll be a link to make your events as well. So any event that you ever create will just go straight into the events part of your church. So that gives you a good little hyperlink there. So the way to build that, we go back into team members. We want to click and we want to edit our young adults category. So let's edit our young adults. And once again, everything is all good. They're ready to go. And we just want to edit variant page builder. So if we click variant, this is how we're going to start building our website. So we've created the page. Here's our young adults, 3 images, and our text box ready to go. So let's go back in. Let's get our cover. Let's grab our cover. Let's scroll down to our cover image 4. And we want to remove this. We want to remove this. Oh, sometimes the full hyperlink won't get away. You'll just get rid of the text. Just another right click will do it. And here we go. So our young adults for this. I didn't even have a subtitle. You can have your subtitle if you fancy. So young adults, enter, make this a different paragraph, just as a, if you would like a subtitle, let's make it a lead, give it a bit more text. So that's our young adults ready to go. Once again, we create our images and we go in here and we add different things. So 3 different images here, and our first one is going to be here. Then our next one, and our final image, our young lady's hanging out there. So that's the section built and ready to go. Then what we want to do is just add in text again. This is exactly replicating what we did with our life groups. So once again, we just come in here and we just want to edit our title, give us give some information about what our young adults are. And once again, this is where we're just, if there's different events that you guys have for your young adults, this is a great place to do it. What I would also suggest is, as a title, maybe if there is a time that goes with it, so let's put after party, and then let's say it's after the 6 o'clock service, so let's say after parties are going to be 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. Great, so it just, basically that just gives a little bit more of a clearer indication of what's going on there. And once again, gathering. And one of the things that sometimes you might find that this is a kind of page that you want to stay stationary, but you have different gathering events. So instead of having to go into editing this page every single time you have a new event, just have a check out our events page for more info. So those are little different things that you can do just to send people more to the events that you want. So check out our events page, and what we want to do is come in here, so have all the details. So now you can see there's a little click here that's called events. We're going to actually insert a hyperlink. Now we haven't created the events calendar yet, but what I want you to do is just put in a hashtag, so it'll show that it's a hyperlink, and as we did earlier, just a little asterisk, just so that we know that we still have to put the link in, so that we have our events, our young adults page all ready to go. So what I want you to do is actually just replicate that for any of your age groups. So our kids' work is going to be exactly the same. We've got 3 images, and then we've just got all the different things that are going to be happening with our kids' events. Once again, have your hyperlink there ready to go, your events. So it's all going to go straight to the same page, but for the moment we haven't built the page, so there's no need to worry about it yet. Your youth as well, just a range of different images. Always make your images, photos of your youth or of your kids ministry or of your young adults, just to give a real clear indication of what does go on inside your church. And once again, information that happens with youth, just recreate these 3 websites, these 3 pages for all your age categories that you've built. So once you've done that, we'll be ready to move on to the next stage. So always make sure you're saving your pages. Go back into WordPress. We've got our young adults all done. And the next one, we want to go into youth, click youth, launch variant page builder, and let's edit away. So do that for kids, for youth, for any of your different age categories, and we'll move on to the next stage. So the next stage that we're wanting to do is our testimonial, a bit of a story. So as you can see, that this is the front page where we added Nikki, who is going to share a little bit about her experience of the church. And testimonies and stories about people coming to your church is another really great way for people to really connect with what's actually going on inside your church. So the way we're going to do this is, as you can see, that this was a bit of an introduction. And then if we go into our church, we had story, and basically this is a bit more about Nikki and just an image of just how the full story of how her life got changed around, her full story here. So there are a couple of ways to do this. Now here we are in the back end of WordPress, and as you can see, there is a part here called testimonials. Now that would be, in a way, a very good way to do this. But I've actually found that testimonials and Stack, just for what we really want to do, we lose a lot of the control. Whenever we go in, we add a new testimonial in the back end. So let me just put test here. One of the problems is that we don't actually have the option to go into variant page builder. So we're actually just going to do this as a full separate page. So I want you to go into a new page. I'm just going to leave this. So we want to add a new page. I want to have Nikki S, and actually we're just going to call this page stories because it's going to come up in our headline title. So here we have stories. I'm just going to have Nikki S. So once again, we don't need anything else than just this to be a default template. We can publish this, and we can just dive straight into into variant page builder and start building away. So as you can see here, this is actually just one box. That's all we needed for this. So here we go in, and we're actually going to go into testimonials. Now, a couple of things that whenever you select any of the testimonials, you'll start to see that they all have to be edited in the testimonial post. This is everything apart from the first 2. So this first one here, for some reason, Stack has allowed us to actually edit this from where we are on the page. So I'm just going to delete the first one that we stuck in there. So but this is actually one where we're actually able to edit the text. We're able to change the image from here, so we don't actually have to use the back end of WordPress. So here we go. This is where we just want to have Nikki's, just one quote of, one text quote of her testimonial. So we want to add this in here. And then the rest is just going to be text, a text about her life. If you want to add, as you're going, we can add this in, and we want to change this to be a paragraph. Once again, get rid of the quotation marks if you want it to go back into a normal paragraph. We can make this different styles, so lead paragraph. If you want to add yet another quote in, we can just, have our, our quote here. And if you just select this back quote button, just changes it into a new text and have your quotation marks over it. And just as you'll see, certain things then the text just changes slightly different. For if there are little parts that maybe a verse of scripture, if you wanted to add this in here, it just gives it a new different level to add out. So for the meantime, we're just going to keep this all as it is, and we're just going to change the name to Nikki S, and joined in July 2016. So it's not too far away. I would say for your testimonials, you don't want to use testimonials of really people who have been there from 2010, because that's actually too long ago. You want people who have actually come to your church really recently. So what you're looking for are really those people who, I don't want to say that they've just had like a really horrible story or a really horrible background, but use something that God's really used, someone really recently, somebody who's perhaps come to your church, come fairly broken, but finds themselves in a year with just the biggest change around in their life. Those are the people where you just want to really try and get their story to give for people to read, and they can connect more. So as you can see, we've got our quote, our paragraph, and just the end part here. And if we want to just have a bit of a line at the bottom, we can just put a horizontal line just to give it a bit more space. These will be a bit more spaced out than they were before. So that's nice and easily done. Now what we want to do here is we've got 2 images to add. So one of the ones that I added for, you can come in here and do both images. So for the text image, I actually had a full background shot of Nikki. Now this is a huge photograph, so you've got to be, as I said, careful with the photographs that you use. If it's only going to be a small photograph, you want to compress it down to the smallest you can make it for that size before it goes grainy. This is quite a big picture, so there's not all photographs are going to be able to work with something like this. But we can add this in here. If we want to, we can even just get rid of this photo here. If we decide that we don't want it, we can just remove. And actually, I believe that that's actually a really nice picture to have. We can make this overlay a little bit darker. We can have a parallax. We can change the text to be inverted, and we can flip it around so it just comes to the side of her. And I actually think that's possibly nicer than what I created earlier on. So that's a really, really lovely way to have your testimonial, just to make it stand out, make it look very picturesque. That's a really beautiful kind of a photo to use if you're able to get one of the person that you're using. So once again, you can, if you find that you want to use inverted colors, more than happy to do so. I'm just going to keep it as it is. Choose your text the way you want it to be aligned, and you're ready to go. That's that all created. You're ready to go, and here we go. Save. I'm actually just going to have a bit of a change of mind. I'm actually going to give this a title, and so Nikki S. This is just going to be my story. Take away your quotation marks, make this your heading, another space, and there we go. That's actually, that's probably a little bit better just to have. If you want to add another cover or perhaps a page title, you can do that nice and easily. Page title too. And as you'll see, that it's going to be added down at the bottom here. Probably don't want to use a breadcrumb title, but if we go up here, close that down, we can move these up and down if we fancy. So there we go. If we want to have our title here, we can go ahead and do that. But for the moment, I'm just going to get rid of it and save. So the next part that we want to start building is the events page. So if we go into our What's On category and we click events, what we've got here is a calendar ready to go. So there's lots of different things that we can have. So whenever we've got any of our young adults, all of our services, all of our connect groups, well, not connect groups, but all of our courses, anything like that, any church event you have, this is a really great way to demonstrate it. And it's quite easy to do by just the way you edit it. You go in and then there's actually full information there about everything, every single event. People can add it to their Google Calendar. This is a really, really lovely plugin to basically demonstrate everything that's going on in your church. Now, one of the things that's really good to have from a church point of view is there's going to be a lot of things in your website which doesn't get updated. The two things that will get updated are your events page and your sermons. If you record your sermons, we hope that you add that every week or every time you have a sermon recorded. But the events page is a really, really great way for somebody to come and look at your website and just see that you're currently updating it. So if somebody does come to your page and they see that there's actually nothing listed for the next month, so if we go to view as month of May, yeah, if people start to see that there's nothing actually in the month of May, it actually gives them the impression that, you know what, you don't really care about what's going on. So if you are going to add an events page, I'd really recommend that you do it, but only if you are committed to updating it and basically update it for 6 weeks in advance. That would be my recommendation. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to come back into WordPress and we're actually going to add a new plugin. So we installed some plugins earlier on, so we're going to add a new plugin. Now, this doesn't come built into Stack, so we're going to have to search for it. So we're going to have to go for calendar in our keyword search. And then what we want to do is add the events calendar. So there's a lot of different ones that you can add. For this one, I've used the events calendar. So all we do is just click install. And as you can see, it's updated less than a week ago. You can really play around with all different kinds of calendars. I like the events calendar. As you can see, more than 500,000 people have downloaded it, so it's going to be worthwhile using. So now that we've installed the plugin, we need to activate the plugin. So depending on how long it's going to take to install, once it's installed, just click activate, and our calendar will be there ready to go. So as you can see, a new events page has popped up here. This is a really good tutorial if you want to take 3 minutes out of your day just to have a look at really different ways that you can add in different widgets and all different kinds of things for your calendar. So that's definitely worth a watch. But for the meantime, I'm just actually going to show you how to create a new page. So if we go into events, and as you can currently see, nothing is there already. But what we want to do is add a new event. So if we go in here, and so what we want to do is, let's say we want to add our 9:30 service, our 9 a.m. service. So we're going to add this to a Sunday. And we want to use a number of different things. What we want to do here is, this is all going to be done at the back end. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to have the date. So when's the next Sunday that we have coming up? So this Sunday here, Sunday the 4th. Correct. And it's going to be 9 a.m. and it's going to finish around 10:30. And once again, it's going to be June the 4th again. So if you are going to be creating an event like a retreat or anything for your church, all-day event is definitely available. And what we do is we just stick in the title of the venue name. We can actually go in and we can add different venues in, so that's already organized. But for the meantime, you just fill this in with your own details. The website just leave blank, because that's unless there is perhaps a paid event that you've got going on, what you can do is just have an event there. You can have your cost, what is it going to be? What's the symbol? Is it going to be pounds? Is it going to be dollars? Add your cost in. These are all different things that you can add. So for this category, because we are creating our 9 a.m. service, what I want you to do is create a new event category, and this is just going to be services. And so we've added that there. And with our tags, we want to have 9 a.m. Add a tag, service. And so think of different tags that you might use if you've got like a young adults event coming up, young adults service, perhaps the time that it's be going. This is just one of the things that it just helps people find certain things, or if there's different events that they start going to and they want to see events like the ones that they're going to, the tags is a really good way to just keep it slightly more organized. So event options, what we want to have is another featured image. So we're just going to have this image as our image there. And here all we want to do is just add a little bit of information. So we want to have our 9 a.m. service and just a quick sort of invitation of come join us as we worship God. Now, I don't know what your services are like. Some churches I know have perhaps a very contemporary 11:30 service, but have a very traditional 9 o'clock service. So this is a good place to talk about, your what to expect here. Is this going to be your contemporary? Is this going to be your traditional service? So we can do this by just once again adding different headings, add a fourth, and then all we do is publish. So what we have is we have our events here. So we can add all our different events. We can add all our different venues. So if we want to add a new venue, all you have to do here is just add the details of your church. Then it just makes it a lot easier for when you have your church services. You don't have to fill in the details every single time. You can just add the information on as you go. So now what we want to do is actually we want to just edit the calendar page. So if you scroll up here and just click this up here that says events and click view calendar. So here we've got a bit of an instruction of what we've got going on here. So here we have a little text widget. We've got a calendar. We've got basically a search, and we've got different things that we can do. So as I said, every time somebody will click this event, this is exactly what they'll see. So they've got all the information, the event category, the service times, the location, everything that they could want. Now, it's up to you how you want to display this. There are very different ways, and what I would actually like to do is just show you how we can edit this. For example, as you can see from my calendar, I've just taken up the full page. I've gotten rid of this little text widget, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I want you to click here is Customize. So now that you've come into the events calendar, what we want to do is we want to start editing everything to do with this page. So if there's something here that we can start to see, actually, we don't really want this text widget. We want all our events here and not on the side. We can just click here and we can just decide to remove. And if we want to get rid of this one, we can remove this as well. But if we want to add a widget, what we can do is we can add different things. So as you can see, the page is just expanded there, but if there is something that you would like to have, then that's more than okay. So if you come in here, for example, you can create a lot of different things. You can have your categories down the sides, you can have a custom menu if you want, comments from, if there's anything. You can also have, a Twitter index, so an Instagram widget. So if you've got a lot of your Instagram posts about your events going on, you can add this in and put your details in, and you'll start to see that your events, your images for your events will come up on the side. So you can go ahead and do that there. I'm just going to lose it. I find that I like to have the larger amount of space ready to go. So there we go. So that's how our events are going to start to look. And as I said, you can add certain things in. You can play about with the colors as well when it comes to the events. So if we go back in here and we click the events calendar, we can start to play around with a few of the colors, things like that. So everything will just sort of be in a neutral format, but if you want to change something else, one of the things that you'll start to find with the different categories, you'll be able to assign a category to a different color. So it's very easy to start to see that your young adults posts will all be in blue, your kids events will all be in green, and that's a really, really good indication to changing. But definitely go into the events calendar and just look at their tutorial and see all the different tips and tricks that you can use to really optimizing your church calendar. I want to stay there. So one of the things I'm going to talk you through now is just how to start to edit this up here. So currently what we've got is our subtitle heading here. So basically if you click here, here or here, it's going to come up with this subheader menu. So what we want here, up here it'll say, do we want a white background, which we can change. I quite like the grey background, but you'll start to see there's a couple of things. Because we are not a shop, we don't need a shopping icon, we don't need a search bar. In a later tutorial, I will show you how to create an e-commerce plugin using WooCommerce. So if you do have resources to sell, it'll be nice and easy for you to do so. But for the moment, we're just going to get rid of all these bars here. So we don't really want to have anything listed up there. And as you can see, there's two different buttons here. And from our event, what we can see is we've actually got a join us call to action, which is always stationary. So that's going to be this second button here. So for the moment, we want to just get rid of this first one because we're not actually going to use it. But the second one here, we're going to have join us. So this is going to be your invitation of what you're going to send out to your call to action page of getting people to come in and join your church. One of the things is we currently haven't built the page, so we don't have a hyperlink to put in just yet. So keep it just with a hashtag in there, but let's stick our asterisk there so we know that we have to go and fill in this hyperlink later on. The menu gets changed later on, so don't worry about that. What you can have is this little, what's called a breadcrumb bar. I'm not a massive fan of these, so I'm actually just going to get rid of them. I feel that they take away from the design, and so I'm just going to get rid of these little titles here, just so you have a little bit more space and you just don't have as just dead space around your website. But as you can see, the events page is clean, it's streamlined, and it's great for what you're wanting to do. And then here is our logo. So as you can see, Stack have already put their logo in. So this is where you're able to just stick your own logo in. So at the moment, I'm just going to remove the logo. And you can see that it's telling you that you can still put your logo in at any point. So this is the place where you come in. Just select your image, stick it in. Now I don't have a logo created for this demonstration. There are different places that you can go to. And I'll include some of them in the link of logo creations, Envato, all these different places where you can then stick your logo in. But for the meantime, I'm just going to remove both the logos. So one was down here in the footer as well, which we're going to get rid of. And that's that ready to go. So there we go. We just want to save and publish this. And over here, we've got our social icons over here. If you want to put a social icon, for example, you want to put in your Facebook page. So let's scroll Facebook. And what you do is you just type in the URL. And then if anyone clicks on the Facebook page, that'll take you straight to them. So that's not actually my my website. So I'm going to just stick a hashtag in there for the moment. But once again, if you would like to have your Instagram page or your Google Plus or whatever you have, let's see, where do we have Instagram? Forgotten my alphabet today. Instagram. So Instagram, and then when you're ready to stick in your icon there. So we can do this for as many different ones that we want. Down at the top, this is where you just have to be really careful with this code. Though you can edit this in the back end, but what I'm going to do is, as you can see, there's the copyright C and stack ink. The one thing that I don't want is stack ink, so I'm just going to get rid of this, and I'm just going to put Life Church. And here we have that in there, and we've got a copyright. And if you have perhaps built by somebody else, there's different ways you can do this as well. Your logo here, obviously we haven't stuck our logo in. This is done in the settings. Do you remember when I said to create your page? This is what's going to pop up in the bottom down here, so we can go and edit that at any point. Up here, this is a really good place to actually just have your address. The more that people see your address, the easier it is for them to find you. So I can't remember what was the address that I actually used for the page, but if we go down into the Join Us section, so you can either actually have Life Church NYC, which is what I've used up here, or you can, for example, stick your address in here. So you can either do that, or you can get rid of it altogether and just have nothing there. So I'm gonna, for the meantime, I'm just gonna keep the address in there. I'm gonna save that, and that's how you basically edit a little bit at the back end of your templates, everything apart from the menu. But that's gonna come at a different point, so I'll show you that later on near the end. So the next thing which I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to create your sermon podcasts. So as you can see here under media, we have sermons. So as you can see here, we've got a lovely layout and then just a little section for each of our individual sermons. So important to make sure that these are dated. But if you click on them with your title, for example, here, and then basically you'll be able to play the sermon from here. Now the main thing is that I recommend that you do is you actually have your sermons up on iTunes or iPlayer podcast, a different podcast for, you know, the iTunes, the podcast app for Apple is so incredibly good, and it's such an easy transition to get from there to here. And I'm going to show you how to do it. It's much better to have your website getting the podcast from a different website, because this will just make it so much faster. You don't have to worry about having a whole file stored in there. I've actually just used a radio show just as an example.
This is the Hamish and Andy Show podcast, brought to you by Guzman y Gomez.
So there you go. So it's very easy to add in, and you know there's going to be nothing to it. You've also got your social shares. People can leave a comment if they want. So we're going to come right back into WordPress. So we want to come right back into the dashboard here of our theme. But what we want to do is we want to go into here, and we want to go into blogs. We want to go to categories. And as you can see, there's a couple of categories already there. These are from Stack. We want to get rid of them. So let's get rid of those. And we want to have our category just called sermons. So you've got uncategorized, which is always going to be there. Unfortunately, you can't get rid of it. So it's kind of a miscellaneous. If you put a blog post and you don't put it under a parent, it's just going to go into uncategorized. But what we want to do is go into all posts. And as you can see, there's plenty of posts right here. But we want to get rid of all of these again. So let's click Move to Trash, Apply, and Add New. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new sermon. So what we want to do is three things: the title of our sermon, who spoke it, and also the date. So for this, we're going to just go with Max L. This is just off the top of the head. And his sermon is on James 1. And the date of this sermon was, let's see, was yesterday was the 20th. So 20th of the 05, 2017. And also what I would make sure is that you have this selected as an image. So select it as an image, place it under sermons, add any tags. So for example, this is just again to, if people are searching for it, this is really great. So people want to find James 1, it was Max who was speaking it, so anything under Max L, and then May. So those are a good set of tags to use. But here we want to add in our image here. So we're going to use an image of one of our preachers, and there we go. There we go. So there's an image of one of our preachers. So for the sake of argument, this is going to be Max. And you can, if you want to write notes, you can do this by, you can do this so easily by writing notes. If you, so if we just have, if you want to write any Bible verses in here, you can actually put all the scripture in here. I think that might be quite a good idea. So what I've got here is just, I've just copied and pasted this from Bible Gateway, so we can quite easily just stick all this in here, just for people to follow along if that's what you would like to do. So James 1, and yeah, there we go. So one of the things that we're not going to be doing is publishing in Variant Page Builder. We're just going to be doing this in the back end. So what I want you to do is just publish this. So what we want to do is now add our media. So the best way to do this is actually just from a URL. You can insert the media from here as in upload the MP3 file, but I actually prefer just going from a text. This is why I suggest that you upload your stuff to SoundCloud or to the iTunes podcast. I'm just going to show you how I got the podcast from earlier on. So this is Hamish and Andy, a great Australian comedy duo. But what you can see here is you want to download the episode. Now, all you're going to do is you're not actually going to download the episode. You're just going to right click and you're going to copy the link address. So you've copied the link address of the download, and I want you to just input it up here. So there we go. So that's all there, ready to go. We want to insert. And so we've got our title, James 1. If we want to put, remove this title and put it below, we can do that as well if needs be. So this is just another place where you're just editing around this. You can put this wherever you want. But what we want to do is just update that. And that will be ready to be played. So if we go into build a new page, this is where we want to build the actual blog post page, our sermons page. So this is going to be our sermons page. So that's all we want to do is just give it a title. And we're going to launch in Variant Page Builder. Now if you come here, as you can see with media, sermons, what we've got is our standard page header. So we want to add that in again. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. And let's just stick our sermons, our sermon titles in. There we go. And once again, add the images that you would want to use. I've done this so many times, so you should know how to do this by now. If not, go back into the young adults or kids ministry part to look at how to do it. There's many sections used for it. Just insert your images there. But the next part that we want to do is we want to add a new blog. So if we go into here, there's different categories that we can use for the blog. Now, I think the most streamlined and the most beautiful looking one is the blog magazine. So if we add this, and basically, as you can see, it's the only blog one that we've got, but it's a way of showing our different blog posts here. So they're going to show up, and the more you have, the better it's going to look, and it just puts it into a really nice format. The most recent one will be displayed at the top, and you can do this by just showing how many you would like. So if you want to have 70,000 of them, or just the most recent 70, you can do that. But just make sure that you've just selected sermons. I'd recommend that you just have all your sermons just on the one page. Once you get to the point where you've maybe got too many, you can start to add a widget, and that basically just means that all you're going to do is a simple blog post with a sidebar, and it's just so that you can have everything listed, all your blog posts listed here, but just a little bit more of an archives list of, you'll have all your May, June, July, everything down the side. It's just a way of doing it. But for the moment, I think while you're just starting out, getting everything in, I think it's a really good way of just having, your first 10 just in the magazine format. And if you want to go, I would keep this format until you've maybe got 30 or 40. It's really easy to scroll. It's really easy to find what you're looking for until you get too many. So there we have it. So that's basically how we've made our sermons page. So what we want to do is we want to just save that. But to test it out, we want to view page in a new tab. So what I want to do is just click on this page. So that's going to take us to the page that we've currently got. So we've just created this page. There's the actual website link. So if we just click on Max here doing James 1, there's a couple of things that we might want to change. We might want to just change this author. We probably want to try and change this date where we can as well, just so that it actually lines up with the date that we uploaded the sermon and not the date that we did the post. But as you can see,
this is the Hamish and Andy Show podcast.
The podcast is there, ready to go. It's all great. You can share on your Facebook. This will be done by, again, putting in the backlinks, putting the links into the background of Facebook, of WordPress later on. And that's how I'll show you how to do all that at the end. So people can share it, people can comment. A really good tip for your website to rank higher on Google and Facebook is just to get more people commenting on these than your Facebook page. But that's that ready to go. So that's your blogs all done and dusted. So let's just make sure that we've saved that and head straight back into WordPress for the next part. So you'll be delighted to hear that we've only got 2 more pages to go. So we've just created our sermons page, and the last 2 pages that we need to create are the contact page. So this is just a title with a map, and I'll show you how to do that. And then we've also got our Join Us page. So the first one, the main one we're going to do is the Join Us page, just because there's something here that we haven't gone over yet that I'd like to show you how to do, and using our features tool as well. So what we're going to do is go into Pages, go into All Pages, and we're going to create Join Us. So if we publish this, and we can just launch this straight into Variant Page Builder. Now the layout of the joint page is that we've got our Sunday service page here. So our usual title, so join us this Sunday. Let's get our links in there. So filter, covers, on our page. So actually, just because this is a bit of a one-off page, this is the page that we ideally want people to go to, just because it gives them a bit of a kind of, if you start to see more people coming to this page, you might start to see more people actually attending your church. This is the page that you really want people to come in. This is your kind of, your very personal your last kind of chance to get them in through your door. So upload the images that you would like to stick in. So I've just gone for a mix of, there's a worship, there's preaching, and again, cover of people from the church just having a laugh. The bigger the smiles, the more heartfelt the welcome of church will be. So what we have here is we have a free coffee on us page. So this is a brilliant idea that many churches have used to basically, if somebody is new to church, basically just another way of putting them at ease of, come and get your free barista style coffee on us. If you have a cafe, that's great. And so this is another good way of also just collecting an email address, just that you can perhaps follow up with somebody if they have come and cashed in a voucher. If you want to send them an email with a code, then you can look at the codes once they've had their free coffee, and you can just send a follow-up email and say, get in contact with us. We just want to, or just follow up and ask them, how have they enjoyed their first time at church? Is there anything you can do for them? So this is a great way, great thing to do. So what I want you to do is go into here, and this is going to be under the, so you can have a choice of a few. So there are contact pages, but what I would like you to do is actually just use the call to action page. So a call to action is just very briefly, it's something that you want somebody to click on it to come to your site. So if you use contact or call to action, either is good. Actually, for demonstrated purposes, probably this form one here. So as you can see, we've got information here. So let's put our titles in. So have a free coffee on us. I'm actually just going to make this a heading 2. Have a free coffee on us. And actually you can see here that you use this form from the sidebar. And I'm going to show you how to create that in a second. So we go in and we want to change our image. So this is one where we've got our lovely barista creating coffee for us at church. And it just shows people that they're going to be getting a free coffee. So it's a lovely image to use. So there we go. So we can either use this. There are different bars as well that you want to use. If you want to use different forms so that the image is much longer, you can do. If we go in here, what we're going to see is the select contact form. Now there's lots of different contact forms that you have, and this is where it does become a little bit tricky. You're not going to be coding, but you're going to be editing code. So here we have enter your email for our monthly. As you can see, it kind of rolls off the page. There's a button there. There's terms and conditions, which we don't really need, to be honest with you. So if we remove that, unfortunately, it doesn't remove everything that we want. So it's really important that you try not to do what I've just done and click the page. So we're actually going to have to go in, jump back out of that, and stick it back in. So, but for the purpose of this, I actually wanted to use a much bigger image. So I'm going to use a cover for it. And so as you can see, this is the cover that I've edited for it. So we want to stick in our titles again. So sorry if I'm confusing you, but there we go. So get started, but actually what we want to do is change this to get your free coffee voucher now. So just a call to action, what we want them to do. We click this. What we can do is just edit this if you want a link in there. No kind of, if we want anything there, type your text. Sometimes just a couple of dots, just in case you want to go back and edit it. But what we want to do here is use a contact form. Now, this is where you can go and create your own contact form. I kind of just preferred to use one that was already created. So we've got this here, but what we want to do is we just want to save this page for the moment. So our page is saved. We want to go back into WordPress here. So I'm actually going to right click and go in and open it. Oh, no. So we've gone back into WordPress here. What we want to do is go into contact. So we want to go to contact forms. And the one we're actually looking to edit is called horizontal one. Now you'll probably find it, again, Stack have added all these things in. So subscribe horizontal one. So what I want to do is just edit this. Now you can see here that there's an awful lot of text here. It's not very well laid out. It is going to give you a headache, but so this is where I just want you to be very clear of anything here where you can see the quotation marks. Those are going to be the only things that we want to touch. Everything else is code. It's a language that I don't even know how to use. So all we want to do is edit these things. So as you can see, that enter your email address was for our monthly newsletter. All we want to do is say enter your email address. So that's all we're changing there. And then this part is just going to be submit. And everything else here. So what we've got is our terms and conditions boxes. So actually all we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this here, these two lines, and we're going to get rid of this line and this line. So I want you to save this, and then I want you to be able to go back into the page that you're editing, so pages, all pages. And let's just right click on this and just in case we need to go back into our contact. So our join us page is going to be editing now. And voila, so it looks a lot clearer now. So as you can see, there's no terms and conditions box. There's nothing there that need to be. We can clearly see that we need to type in our email. As you can see that this box hasn't actually opened up correctly. I can assure you that it will. My submit button here came up. It's not very clear actually, but one of the things that, yeah, so maybe just a send button. Once it comes to actually open it up in a new tab, you'll see that the page is there. So let's maybe go back in and change that to send, just so that it looks a little bit clearer. So if we want to go back into contact forms, we're going to go here, edit, and just go send. So you can create your own, but I definitely felt it's just a little bit clearer because there is a little bit of coding, and this is one of the things where this plugin, the original WordPress plugin, just hasn't really ended up too well. So if we come into here and we've got our page that we're currently editing, once we save that, it'll change to send as we actually have the page. So let's change our image. We want our lovely barista man here, ready to go. And so there we go. Have a free coffee on us. We can change the text if you want. Everything's centered. We can have the parallax image again if we would like. Inverted colors. No, I think we'll just leave that there. Image overlay off for the moment. And yeah, change the section height to as little or as much as you want. I quite like having this quite big, just because it's the thing that you want to really attract people to. So what we want to do is now add a feature set. So this is going to be our transportation. So as you can see here, we've got by car, subway, or bicycle. And so what this is under is features small. So if we go into features small and we click features small 3, we're able to just easily, let's make sure you go into the visual and not the text. This is all code. This is, so if you start to edit this, you're going to come across a few problems. So let's just easily input this here. So that's actually the wrong thing that I've copied and pasted there. So let's go by car. And what we want is by car. We want to get rid of the learn more. The directions are going to come just underneath. If you want to have a learn more going towards maybe a link to the New York subway system or the transport of near your location, you can do that if you fancy. I prefer not to. Now this can be a bit of an irritant, this little new tag. You can get rid of it by going into the text, which is our code here, and getting rid of it here. but just be careful that you don't take away too much code than what you're willing to take away from. So one of the things to make sure is just make sure that your text is all still clear enough there, you haven't lost anything. So that's the way to get rid of the blue tag, by just going in and removing it straight from the coding part. But the last thing we want to do is just our bicycle part here. The other way to get rid of that little blue box is to really just to delete it. So for example, delete this, and then we can just create another one, and it should just come up completely identical to the one before. So as I said, we want to create bicycle. Now we need to change these icons. As you can see, that this is not a car, this is not a train in the subway, and this is not a bicycle. So we right click and we choose icon. So the first one we need is a car. So we've got loads and loads of icons to choose from. So you can either scroll through, or you can just choose icon, search your way up here, filter icons. You can scroll through them one by one if you're not quite sure what you're looking for. If you're starting to not be able to find what you're looking for, just look through the search bar. Maybe have to get quite creative sometimes. It's always interesting when there's sometimes not actually like a subway cart, but there is a penny wheel. So bicycle. Oh, here we go. So funny bicycle, just a bit of tongue in cheek there. So we have all storage for our bicycles there. So that's how we've done the transport there. And then we've just got another map here. Now, one of the really great things about Google Maps is whenever we've actually given the directions in other parts, whether it's been the Contact Us page or the home page, what we've done is we've just used a part where somebody's actually able to jump on, and they, with the touch of a button, when it is their website, they can just get directions. So they can just click on where the point is. So now what we want to do is we want to add our map. So we go back into Contact and we find a map that we would quite like to use. So for this one, I'm going to go for this map API, just a bit of a bigger map to show the location. And as you'll see here, what we've got, if we go back into our Join Us page, we've got our address here, we've just got our final service times, and then just like a final, can't wait for you to join us. So just click and edit the text, easily done, and then click, and all we want to do is change a location. So let's copy and paste our address. That's it, and we can change the zoom level as well, just being a bit of a bigger map. Maybe we want a bit of a closer zoom or a further away zoom. So I think actually a bit of a further away zoom is perfect for this one. And once again, we can change how much padding there is between the map and anything else. If we want to make it dark, we can do. I quite like this section here to be coloured like this. And voila, there we go. So that is our Join Us page, ready and raring to go. Make sure you just update your images here. And once again, we're all done. So save your page, and time to plug in your laptop by the looks of things here. Okay, so our final page is going to be our contact page. So we've got our Join Us page all set and ready to go. So now we just have our contact page. So if we go in here, as you can see, all we have is just one title with a header and just some contact information. So what we actually have here is, so what we want to do is we've saved our page from before. So you want to go, you can either do one or two things actually. You can either just create a brand new page from here. Sometimes, obviously, I've told you not to do this because we've just been editing our team pages, but this is quite an easy option just to create a brand new page. So this is going to be our Contact Us. So if we create this, then what we need is our cover. So we go back in, we use the same cover that we've used before, You can flick it up, you can change it up with whatever images and covers you would like. I'm a bit of a character of, I quite like the way, of just keeping things even and consistent throughout. So it might seem a little bit boring, but I think this is the best way to go about it. But let's just put our title in. Contact us. So paragraph, heading 2, contact us page. Let's make this section a little bit less there. And all we're going to do is we're just going to create the map that we added in earlier on. So if we go into contact and we find our API map. So there we go. And we're just going to take the same details that we had in the very front page. It's just when people are clicking through things, that they sometimes forget that all this information is on the front page. So it's sometimes just a little bit easier to create a brand new page for everybody to come and see. So we click this, add in our address like we have done previously, and we have created our front page. And I think this has been the quickest page that we've had to create because there's very little there. But we're done, and we are ready to start editing our menus. We're able to start getting to the point where we're able to create and publish our website. So let's go in and do that now. So what we want to do is we want to go into our menu section. So this is under the appearance part, and we want to go into menus. So if we click this, and you'll see here that Stack has already made some headers for us. So there's a few menus here. I think the best thing to do is just to create a brand new menu. So we're just going to call this main church menu, just so that we remember exactly what it is. And this is basically where we're going to start adding all our pages into. So anything that's a page that you want to be in the menu. So for me, I've got the home page. We've got what's on into a drop down. We've got fun for all ages, which is another drop down. Life groups and events. We've got our church, so staff members and stories. Media, which is sermons, and if you need to add a blog in later on, you can add this under media as well. Then contact us and join us. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add our homepage. So if we add our homepage, so we're going to add that to menu. The next part is our what's on. Now we actually haven't created a what's on page, so we're going to create just a header for it. So this is going to be, so we're going to call this what's on. So what's on, and you'll notice because we haven't created a page, we don't actually have a hyperlink for it, but we don't want it. We don't want this to take us to anywhere. So we're just going to put in a hashtag, and that's going to be what's called just our header. So we want to add the pages that have come into that. So in our what's on, we've got fun for all ages, life groups, and events. So if we go into now, do you remember that we didn't actually create these in pages? We created them as team members. So if you start to find that you actually can't see your team members here, you also find that they're not in categories. The thing to do here is just go up here into screen options, and then you'll find team members right here. So team members, you check that, and then you'll start to find team members have come in under here. So now what we want to do is we want to add our life groups, our life groups, fun for all ages, so we'll add them to the menu, and also our events. So our events page, which is going to be under, so events page. Now because we actually didn't create a page, it's already been created for us. Once again, we can look to see if it's here. Randomly, there it is, events. And so we've only got the 9 p.m. service. Now we don't want this to be, we don't want to list every single event. We just want our event pages. Now, if you're struggling to find where it is, like I am, purely because we know we've got a page created, but we haven't actually created page for it. What we can do is we just scroll up. If we right click events and view calendar, if we go up here and we open the calendar in another page, so this is our events page, but what you'll see is we can just copy the hyperlink from the top here, and we go down and we stick the URL in there, and then our link text is just going to be events. So that's everything added in. Now we want all these to drop down in under the what's on group. So all we do is we just slide these to the side a little bit. So we've got this as a drop down in the what's on page. So there we are, ready to go. And then what we've got is our fun for all ages. So once again, we've got more team members. We've got young adults, youth and kids, which we want to add into our menu. And we want these to come under the fun for all ages groups. So what we can do is we just move them in underneath. So what you're starting to see is there's a bit of a subcategory going on. And if we want to move life groups underneath, but not in a subcategory, if we accidentally added into the subcategory we want it out, you just need to make sure that everything's in line. So that's what we've got there. The next part here is our church, where we've got staff members and stories. So again, we do have an our church page, but it doesn't actually take us to anywhere. So what we actually want to do is we want to create a subcategory. So what we want to do is we want to create another custom link, and what we want to have is just another hashtag in there. And it's going to be our church. So we want to add that in there. And then what we want to have are all the things that we want in our church. So we've got our church, and we've got so we want to add that to the menu. And then we've got under pages, we've got our stories and our staff members. So we want to add all these things. So a good way to just notice which one is the clickable link and which one is the actual page, just by having the custom link, knowing that if there's no URL, it means that you won't click it. It's just something to be there just as a header. So we can just slide all these into our church. Then our next part is our media. So once again, we never actually created a media page, but we don't want to, we just want a header. So hashtag media, add to menu. And what we're going to have is just our sermons page. Now you can add the last few sermons in underneath sermons if you want to go in here and find all your posts. And for example, the last sermon page that we added, if you want to select that, put it under sermons, you can do. So whenever there is a drop down, we can do. But I think it's just better to have the sermons page all together, ready to go. So that's our sermons page there ready. And then the last thing we have is just our contact us, and it's just a standalone page. So if we go in here, we've got contact us. So we add this to the menu, and it's there. Now, as I said, our join us page is in a different section. So we don't actually add this to the menu, but what we do is we go back. First of all, we save this menu. So we save this menu, but we actually need to tick this box here. So this is going to be standard navigation. So that means that whenever we go into look at our website again, if we click home, if we actually, what we need to do is if we go in and we go to edit a page. So if we click our home page and all we want to do is view it, so if we click that, now you'll see that our header has started to, our menu has started to come up. So we've got everything in there that we've put in our menu. So our fun for all ages, and then you can start to see that you can navigate through your page really, really clearly. So without further ado, what we want to do is we want to go and start adding in the hyperlinks that we've missed out from earlier on. So we're in here. What we want to do is just go to our home page, and we want to click Customize here at the top of the screen. So here we have this page here. So what we want to do is we want to just click on our Join Us. And if it doesn't come up, then you want to just click the little edit button beside. And if you remember correctly, here's our Join Us page. Now, we've got our title there. We just need the hyperlink. So what we need to do is to go back in and find out what the hyperlink was. So you can go back into, this is where I recommend that you have 2 tabs open for this. So if we go back into our pages, find our page on our Join Us page, we go to edit, and all we do is we just copy this hyperlink here. So copy, and then under the hidden button URL 2, we add this in. So it means that anytime somebody clicks on this button, it goes straight to there, and it's always published and always seen there. I'm going to just make this grey just because I prefer the grey from the looks of things. And there we have it. So that's there ready to go. Now what we needed to do was to obviously add in all your logos, add in everything there. If you want to create a footer, go in and do that as well, a footer logo and anything you wanted to add in there. But what we needed to do is we want to go back into the dashboard, and we want to go and we want to start editing all the links that we haven't put in yet. So if we go into our pages, and we go to all pages and home, edit invariant. So we've got this Join Us page. Once again, we want to add the hyperlink in there. So what we can do is 2 things. We've already copied and pasted the hyperlink into here. But if we just double click on this button, as you can see, we can either copy and paste the hyperlink in, or it'll give us the option to search. So we can just search for Join Us, and there we go. That's the page that we've created. That's the Join Us page. It'll give us the hyperlink straight away. Now, if we want people to open this and it goes to a new tab, so that they stay on the home page, but also from the Join Us page, we can select that. So that's just if we want somebody to, we just want the other page to open in a new tab. I'm not going to bother with it. I quite like that it goes just straight to the page that they need to. We're just going to add that in there. So our hyperlink is in. So what we need to do is just take away the asterisk to know that we've already added our hyperlink and we're not looking for it later. So remember just to have a scroll through if there's any pages. The ones that I definitely remember that we need to add hyperlinks into are our age category pages. So if we go back in, now we need to go back into WordPress for this. Oh, remember to save. So we need to go back into WordPress for this because remember we didn't create these as pages, we created these as team members. So back into team members, click on Young Adults, edit invariant page builder. Now what I want you to do here is to, on a different tab, is to go and find the events page, which is what we did earlier on. So events, and if you just remember, the events page was, let's open that in a new tab. The events URL was just this link here. So if we add this in, whenever we scroll down, we've got this link that we need to add in. So if we just click, edit, take away the hashtag, type in the URL, enter, or just click it, take away a little asterisk, and then that is ready to go. So if you just replicate that for the pages that you've done, then you'll be able to just add in the hyperlinks into your young adults, your kids, and any other pages that you've made that you've added hyperlinks into. So that is everything just about ready to go. Okay, so the final things that we need to do are just last little minute checks. So if we go into our dashboard, let's go to pages, and all we want to do is just view our front page. So we're just going to basically run through and make sure that we've actually got everything, make sure all our links work. So yes, this takes us to where we want it to go. We've got this looks so much better now, hey. Everything's looking good. So this is a really, really good thing to do, a good practice to do. Get a buddy, somebody who hasn't been editing this, to go through it, because effectively you know what's supposed to happen, you know how it's supposed to look, you know how it's supposed to be spelt, but that's not always the reality. And I'll hold my hands up and be guilty for I'm definitely got a fair few spelling mistakes in everything that I've done the first time, and I'm always making sure that somebody else is having to check it. So go in and just make sure that you've got all your hyperlinks in ready to go. Anything that isn't a clickable link, just try and figure out where it goes. But this is, in just a few hours, you've created this incredible church website. It's going to be, I believe that it's a website that's going to be able to really help your church grow. Over time, I'm going to talk you through, once you've got this part, we're going to do the advanced tutorial where we're going to add in how to do tithing, how to do online giving, and a few other nifty things. But this is our launch tutorial, so in a few months' time I'll come back with the advanced level and talk you through it. But this is any questions that you have. If there's anything that you found that I haven't done correctly or it's not working for you, please feel free to go over to the website, go to websitebuiltbyyou.com, and from there get in touch with me. My details will be on there. And yeah, if you have another tutorial that you would like to request, or you actually have found that you don't have the time to build the website yourself, I'm able to build the website for you. Just get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to, if you want to comment on if you're watching on the YouTube video, comment below with anything that you have. The more that you comment on YouTube, the more that other people will be able to see and will be able to add in any extras there. But go get your hosting, So you've got your hosting, you've got your theme forest template. I wish you all the very, very best with this website, and I hope you go and absolutely kill it, and I hope your church just rapidly grows. I really pray God's blessing on you as you use this. God bless.